I was going to do a live cast here. I almost backed out of it because I was going to watch a movie with the kids instead, but I grabbed my cup of coffee with my Love Pa cup, decided I would come out and do it anyway. I have a few things that I wanted to talk about here, but I'm not quite ready. I have to go grab something real quick. And so, thanks for joining me, and I'll be back in just a second here. Mhm. Okay, now we weeded out the chaff. Got rid of all the people who didn't want to wait around. No, I'm just totally kidding. Sorry, it's been a long day for me, and I've been working on the bathroom remodel that I've been working on. I mentioned it before, but it's been an ongoing process for the last few weeks. I've been out there trying to keep myself busy, keeping my mind busy, and keeping my body busy is a wonderful way to overcome anxiety. Pardon me. Anxiety, stress, whatever you want to define it as. Now, somebody asked earlier, I've had a couple of different people ask me, how somebody said it would be nice if you'd talk about how to overcome stressful times and to become, I don't know, to cope with the bullshit that's going on right now. Now, there's a lot of bullshit going on. I mean, I think that the current, pandemic is just basically opening up wounds that have been there for a long time. And so I want to make this relatively brief. I'm not going to make this a long video. And I'm doing it in the live format just so I can say hello and interact with people while I'm making it. But the most important thing I want to get across here is that idle hands are the devil's plaything. That's the old term, but I think that's the one. I think that's how it goes. But anyhow, when you're sitting around home too long and you don't have a lot to do, it's really hard to feel motivated, and stress starts to creep in. You start to wonder, how did I ever function the way I functioned last week? And this is important because this is something that I think about constantly. Wake up in the morning, and when I wake up in the morning, I have this moment of clarity where I think about all the things I need to get done, all the things that I have not accomplished. My teeth, I got all my teeth replaced, but I can't afford to get the bottom ones replaced yet, so I can't eat properly, even though I spent all this money on the upper ones. But even then, even though I put all this time into it, I still think and stress like, oh, eventually those crowns will fall off. But you want to get right down to it. It's the same old, oh my God, one day I'm going to die and one day we're all going to fall apart. I'm 45 last month. So you start to wonder, how many more years do I have left? Do I have decades? Do I have just years? Do I have months? Nobody knows. You think about it a lot more as you get older. But the reason I say that is because getting older brings on its own stresses. But a lot of folks who stress the most or think that they are the most stressed are the youngest. I stressed more physically when I was younger because I allowed myself to get wrapped up in the what ifs. And oh God, am I going to get in trouble for this? Or oh God, what if I don't pay my taxes? What if I don't pay this bill? Oh God, got collections coming after me from Columbia House Records. What am I going to do? Stressing over stupid things does never help. It just never helps. I've split life's issues as far as stress into the haves and the have-nots, right? Have power and have not power, which is what I've said is the circle of concern and the circle of influence. Circle of concern is things like, oh man, I know that there's a huge, new world order ruining, running the world, and the reptilians are going to take over, and the moon's made of cheese, and space is fake, and the earth's flat. And my big question would be, so what do you get from that? Like, how is that benefiting you? Is it just because you have some sort of a knowledge? Or why are you sharing that with others? Are you trying to get something out of it? Or is it just that we have such a lack of control in our own lives that we make up our own stories to suit ourselves because we don't want to look at true facts? Now, in 2020, it's a crazy fucking year, peeps. I mean, this is some bullshit out here. There are so many people who have no clue what they even stand for or believe. They're just angry and they're upset. And that triggers other people to be upset. And letting that go requires a certain bit of stoicism. Now, the Stoics were not... The image that we get today of what a Stoic is would be this guy that stands there and nothing bothers me. That's complete nonsense. Being a Stoic has everything to do with analyzing and acknowledging our emotions, the things that come our way, and dealing with it as best we can. We don't have the luxury of waiting around to figure out what's true and what's not, and hope for the best, and I wonder if there's an afterlife, or I wonder what the best path for me would be. Time passes quickly. Time is a motherfucker. In fact, I was saying this to my brother the other day. I was like, time is the only currency we have. And then I got this old bullshit I hear from people. Time doesn't exist. And I'm like, look, air doesn't exist either, but you can measure it. Of course it exists, but you can't see it. It's this mentality people have about things they can't see. And, oh god damn it, now somebody's going to start sending me text messages because I'm doing a live cast. I don't know who it is, but I'm going to flip through and say hi to y'all and see who's in the chat here, because I love y'all and I appreciate you coming. Air in my chips. I dominated the air in my chips bag. Says hello. Hello, Frank. Hello, Frank. Trimming table. Damn it, I love the trimming table. What's a trimming table? I don't know. This is a great topic tonight. Thanks, Carpo. Thank you, Speciosa. And it's actually really important. Stress is something that fucks people up. Constantly makes us worry about dumb shit that we know we can do better. We know that we can control these things. I mean, I get so... I don't know. The feeling that comes to mind when I start talking about these things. When I first started this video, I thought, I'm just not going to be able to get into this topic because it's just too complicated, and I'll probably just not even make the video. And once I get into it, I just think about all the people who have emailed me with their personal fears, anxiety, their stresses, depression, and I can't minimize that by saying, dude, you're stressing over stupid shit. You're like, well, I don't know where my job's going to come from, my next job, and I don't know how to do this, and I don't know how to sell my whatever I sell. It's like, dude, that's the fucking human condition. We're all living in the same human condition. So, anyhow, appreciate everybody coming. I better flip through the rest of the comments. Somebody says, Yusef, is that UF or Yusef? UF Adamas says, have you known kratom to have antibiotic effects? No, but I do have suspicion that kratom does have antimicrobial benefits. And this isn't just through some bullshit pipe idea that pops into my head, but rather a little bit of research into some of these natural compounds that are in there. I don't have the particular esters or alkaloids that may be responsible on hand. I do have a lot of paperwork about kratom alkaloids, and yes, there are many in there that do help. Cannabis, let me just say this. While I'm talking about kratom, I should talk about cannabis. Cannabis also has potential antimicrobial and antifungal effects. Now there are some cannabis that smells identical to peppermint, to you know, um, especially the eucalyptus type smells. This is the exact same terpene which is found in eucalyptus or in peppermint. It's no different. It's the same chemical makeup, the exact same terpene compound. Meaning that if these things are antimicrobial in nature, in other words, if mint oil can kill something, and if eucalyptus oil can help kill a bacteria or a virus, who's to say that having it in cannabis wouldn't have some benefit? I don't know, but there are many constituents within cannabis and within kratom that I think could be beneficial to help stave off sickness. Now, a lot of alcoholics will tell you that, well, alcohol kills germs because it's kind of a joke. We know that alcohol lowers the immune system. It can generally make you more, especially in large amounts, it can make you much more susceptible to things that you ordinarily wouldn't sweat. Speaking of which, I've got my IPA here and my brass knuckles to pop that lid off. It's a bottle opener, officer. I like the taste of beer, but I don't find it to be something that really helps. The reason that it's perfect as an example of a drug, when we try to take drugs to overcome our stress and anxiety, it can become a crutch. And I have my share of crutches. I have my share of substances that I've used. My coffee in the morning, my kratom. I mean, I find myself waking up and the first thing I grab is my vape. I love it. I just love vaping. I can't help it. It's been 5 years now. But people are like, oh, you vaped for 5 years? I'm like, yeah, but I smoked for 25 years. I'm no angel. I was thinking about all the fucked up shit I did when I was a kid and all the crazy shit that I did to get myself in these fucked up situations. And then the anxiety that came out of that. And that's partially why when people email me or message me saying, hey, how do you cope with stress in the modern day and what's going on right now? The one thing I can say is, what's going on right now that's any different than any other time? It's just, if you turn on the news, you're going to see what you're going to see. That's all I can say. It's easy to ignore it. So when I was doing the bathroom remodel, it's getting away. It's not looking at the feed to see what's going on in the news, or looking at Twitter or YouTube or Instagram, for goodness sake, if that's your thing. I made this video called Instagram Ego and Influence Whores, or Ego Whores, or something like that. It was a couple of years ago, but I get comments on that video every day. It's a YouTube video about how fucked up Instagram is and the whole fake, bullshit. I know a lot of people feel that way about YouTube too, and I don't blame them. And anything online, everybody's trying to sell you something. Everybody's trying to fuck you over just so they can get some of your shit in their pocket. And that's what makes real people who really discuss things like afraid to even ask or to talk about, say, Patreon or PayPal or whatever they might have. And I give a shit about people, but I definitely don't have a lot of patience for bullshit these days. My own stress is, I don't know. My own stress is something that I learned to control when I was in my 30s. And I'll get to that, but I should flip through the rest of the comments here. DB. Hey, DB. 3 minutes late. Yeah. Invisibility cloak. Hell yeah. Bathroom remodels are fun. Yeah, dude, there's so much to do in there. Okay, Sima says, recently I've been stressed about my career. I'm 19 and there's always this fear of not being successful. Let me give you the best advice, if you're still here, my friend, that I could, not the best advice, the best advice that I have that I could share. It would be this: if you're 19 years old, you don't know shit yet. And please don't take that as an insult. Take that as a fucking awesome thing. When you're young, the Dunning-Kruger effect hasn't really taken hold yet. There are young people who think that they're super smart and they know better than everyone else. I was one of those guys. And then there's the younger people who are insecure because they've been browbeaten or beaten down by their parents, by their relatives, by their teachers, by their coworkers, their bosses, whoever it might be, and they're worried about a career. Let me just tell you this. I started out my career as a construction worker, okay? And I learned how to do roofing, I learned how to do foundations, build houses and whatnot. Then I left for a while, did some warehouse work, did other shit, came back to construction, started building full on additions, got my own license. I got licensed to do carpentry in the state of Oregon. I had a contractor's license. I went out and bid my own jobs. I went out and took only the jobs I wanted. I was selective. Took the finished carpentry jobs, which I know a lot of my subscribers have seen. I have a video of all the past work I've done in carpentry, and I'm proud of it. I am proud of it. It's up in like Portrait of Portland magazine. Yeah, I mean, I've done some work that was in a historic homes that was like, wow, revered by people. And I thought, but I still beat myself up. I still think, oh, well, I'm not worthy. I didn't earn that, or, well, it wasn't that great. Because I fucked up my back moving lumber, and over time it got worse, and I have sciatica to where if I lift anything, if I start moving a bunch of stuff around the house, it'll hurt in 2 days. It takes about a 2-day delay. If anybody who has sciatica might have the same similar issue. It takes a couple days for the muscle and the inflammation to hit that point where, oh, you feel it down your leg and in your thigh. Being in pain makes life very difficult to live if you're a carpenter. And I had to leave my job site. I had to quit my whole career for this. And I'm only telling you this because for you to say that, at 19 you're stressed out about your career, I would say everybody is right now. There might not be some careers in the future. And so it's really up to us as individuals to dig deep, to really find what we want to do. And I'm going to tell you this, for all of you out there that are listening, for what it's worth. I have a family. I have 3 kids. Well, 2 younger kids and an older son that lives with us. He's 26, 11, and 8. And then my wife and we all live in our house with our dog. Relatively small house, and we all live here together. We're all dealing with the pandemic. We're all dealing with the anxieties that come with not working. My wife is a server, and she's not able to work at the restaurant. We don't like that situation. We also don't like, well, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is we've looked at the positive side and realized we're home together. And for a lot of people, being home together is the stress. And this is important to cover because for a lot of folks, the stress of not having a job or a career isn't really the big problem that they have. The big problem that they have is not knowing what the fuck they want to. Damn it. See, I should have muted all my... This is around the time of night where I start getting text messages if I ever do. But, so yeah, for the person who left that comment, I should flip back to it. I'm going to try to answer these. So yeah, that was for Sumed Vicare. Yeah, not being successful, I should finish this up because I tend to ramble long. Being successful is in the eye of the beholder. If you want to know what real success is, it has everything to do with your relationships and your inner feelings and your level of awareness. Because awareness is like everything. I mean, so what I was going to say is I spend a lot of time learning about things that seem like a waste of time for me. I feel I beat myself up because I think I could be pursuing a career doing this or that. I could be making YouTube videos like, say, I'm sure every one of you have seen The Daily Dose of Internet. Now, when that show first came out, I remember when he only had a couple thousand subscribers, right? And I thought, this show is going to go far. This show is going to blow up. And I thought, wow, it's cool. All you have to do is just take other people's stuff and take the time and effort to put it all together in a right format and have the right attitude. And boom, you're successful. And I thought, why don't I do this? Why don't I make my internet cash? Because I can't do it. I feel too cheesy taking money off of something unless I've totally created it myself, I guess. And I'm not dissing that at all. I'm just saying everybody makes money some way. I beat myself up because I feel like I'm not successful. Dude, I'm struggling to make cash. I'm struggling to make ends meet just like everybody else is. And I think, why? What do I really want to do? That's the problem. I'm pursuing what I want to do, which is talk with people, which is post videos, share ideas, write blogs, podcasts, things like that. Is that something I knew I wanted to do even 5 years ago? No. I was just making YouTube videos to talk about life while I was doing carpentry. I would upload videos at 6 in the morning of the sunrise at my job site and stuff. And then times changed, and I fucked my back up, and I was stuck at home, and I got depressed, I got anxious. I started having some really hard times, really suffering, and I want to express that to people because I think that some folks have this image that I'm not who I am. That maybe I'm totally arrogant or egotistical, or on the other hand, that I don't know a damn thing, or so many different views of who a different person is. But if I can give you the view that I'm stressed and I'm anxious and I'm depressed sometimes too, I've learned that I have more of ups and downs in a day-to-day basis than I ever thought before. In other words, one minute I feel great lately. The next minute I just feel like shit. What is that? Why? Why is it that I can be totally motivated and busting ass? Well, then the next minute just be like sitting on the couch looking at news articles. Here's the thing. Put down the fucking phone, put down the computer, and get up and do something. That's all I can say. I have been working on the bathroom for a couple days now, and I feel good right now because I got some shit done. And I'll just say this, being successful is about getting shit done, not about getting work done, not about working for an employer or somebody else. Don't worry about a career. So that was a very long answer for your question, so I hope that helped you in some way. DB says, my father had me when he was 65. He's in his 80s, and I'm in my early 20s. Holy cow, man. Well, that boy's... Your father is... your father is, what was I going to say? Potent. He's got some potent sperm. Honestly, I don't think I could do that. I've thought about this before. I met my wife when she was 23, and we were 22, 23. Actually, we were like 21 or 22, because her son, she had when she was 18. He was 3 when we met, 3 or 4. And Raistlin, and he's been my stepson ever since. He's 26 now. He's my son as far as I'm concerned. But then it was like, what, 16 years later, 14, 15 years later, all of a sudden we're like, oh, look, we're pregnant. We had another kid. Then 3 years later, just like like clockwork, because my brother's the same way. Him and I are 3 years apart. Boom. 3 years. And I was like, it's a perfect spread, just like me and my brother, fucking monsters that'll attack each other, brothers, and do what they brothers do. And they do. They're hell on wheels, but I love them to death, and they're sweet kids, highly intelligent, doing what kids do. And anyhow, that's success to me. How I interact with my family and the people that I talk to. But I had them when we were like in my late 30s, and that seemed late. 65 is crazy. I can't even imagine that. My friends' parents are quite old. They actually had them in their 50s, I think. Because I think that they're, well, maybe not 50s. No, God, I guess it must have been 40s. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Different ages. AA Battery says, double A Battery, I'm 28, still haven't figured out my career. You're fine, brother. Yeah, that's exactly, you tell him, man. That's exactly it. Hey, I'm 45. I don't have a fucking career, all right? I'm still learning what I want to do. I mean, this is okay. It's okay. I'm still trying to figure out how to make $1 off a podcast, right? Yeah. Frank says, I'm trying to be me. Yeah, me too, brother. Hello, Chris. Hello, Tobacco. He's talking about temporary cavity filler from Walmart. Oh, God. No, I can't go there. I can't talk about cavities and shit. Hey, lover boy, how you doing? How much kratom per day do you think is too much? That's a good question, my friend. That's up to you. Very subjective. For me, if I'm taking more than 3 tablespoons over the day, not at once, over the day, which is about 15 to 18 grams. If you're taking more than an ounce, it's too much per day. If you're taking more than a half ounce, that might be pushing it. Some people say that they're happy with a couple grams. It's subjective. I wanted to make a video specifically about kratom and cannabis the other day. I was like, especially kratom. Like, so many people ask me so often, what is a good dose of kratom? And I'm just like, I cannot give you that information, dude. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert on your fucking body and brain. But anywhere between 1 and 3 teaspoons is generally where people find themselves happy. Some people take a half teaspoon, and more than that is too much. Some people say they don't get shit unless they take a half an ounce. And I say, well, you're not supposed to be getting shit off it. You're supposed to be just feeling functional and normal. If you're trying to get a buzz off kratom, you're missing the whole point. But there is a buzz, and I'm not going to deny that. It's like a good coffee buzz, right? It is in the same family, the Rubiaceae family, which is coffee, is in that same family. It's a fascinating plant. It really is. Kratom has been a godsend. I've taken it for 10 years now. The first time I took it was in 2009, so it's been over almost 11 years, I guess, that I've been taking kratom. And people are like, well, how many times do you take a break? And I'm like, never. I was like, I don't take breaks from coffee either. It's not like a smoker takes breaks from cigarettes, or a pot smoker really takes breaks from pot. Some do, some don't. I smoke cannabis as well, and I don't take breaks from that. So why would I stop, taking kratom? It doesn't make sense. But people have this idea that, well, it's like opiates, and it has certain effects on a person, and it might be dangerous, or it might cause liver damage, which wanted to make a whole video about that alone. The idea of liver kidney damage is based on opiates, which can cause this, type of liver damage, but that's caused usually by Vicodin or oxycodone that is cut with the acetaminophen. So when you buy like a 5-325 or a 5-500 capsule, it's basically 5 milligrams of Vicodin and 400 or 500 milligrams of acetaminophen. And when you're taking 20 of those a day, like Eminem style, or my buddy who was a bartender back in the day, taking like 10 at a time, 20 at a time, all that acetaminophen fucks up your liver. Trying to transfer that liver damage over to kratom is ridiculous. There's absolutely no evidence that I've found that any real kidney or liver damage occurs from kratom in moderate doses. If you're dehydrated, if you're mixing it with other foods, if you have a certain genetic makeup, it's possible. But let me just tell you, some people start smoking and die from lung cancer the first year they start. I mean, there's some weird shit that happens, and it's really hard to use these stories to get, I don't know, any real perspective on what's happening out there. And shit, it looks like my phone's about to die. So I'm going to catch up on these comments after I go out and I get my cord to charge it. Just give me 1 second, folks. Here we go. It's real talk, peeps. All right, it's real talk. What can I say? I come in here with the intentions to answer all your questions, and by the time I get halfway through, I feel like I'm like spending way too much on one question and not really getting to everybody. But I'm gonna flip through these real quick. Tobacco says beer is a good source of bruises. Yeah, talk to my friend Skelly. He falls everywhere. Not for me. I've got I have size 14 shoes, my friend. You know what they say about big feet? Big brain. I don't have a bad balance. I have a really good balance even when I'm drinking. I see we're on the Instagram shit, so I have to go through these. Love the hoodie. Thanks. Yep. Yeah, I've had this. I bought this OG style when fucking back in the Griffin when this show was like really young. It's old. I just covered it with paint. I've actually kept this hoodie mint condition for like years. Hardly ever wear it. And then all of a sudden I paint my bathroom and I totally fucking destroy it. So, that's life, right? Carpo's biggest fan. What? What did somebody make a joke username? Oh my god. Hello, Carpo and friends. Oh god, that is weird to me. So I'm just curious. Did you make a YouTube channel specifically for that? That's just weird. I don't know how that thing works. I don't know how that works. Dominated by Air My Chips bag says, what kind of vape do you have? I'm looking for one that does not leak. Okay, I have to answer this. I would just bypass that, but this has been such an issue for me for 5 years. I was using a tank for a long time for vaping that was called a Griffin 25. Great tank. Didn't leak too bad at all. I've been through a dozen tanks since then over the last 5 years. And then when all my tanks had finally broke and I cracked all the glass on them all, I finally grabbed this just drip tank, which I just put a single coil in it. This is I don't even know what it is. It's a Radar. I got it a long time ago. With this mod box that I bought, a Vaporesso, just a standard two 18650 batteries. I have dropped this bastard on the floor a dozen times. It's just gone slam and flown across. In fact, it hit so hard that I lost the whole tip off of one of these things. Put a different one on. These drip tanks, I didn't like them because you have to keep dripping, and I always liked a tank that would just be, there at my disposal. I had a misconception that these things ran out faster than they do. You can really get like 20 good draws before you really have to, drip again. And I'm vaping much lighter than I used to be. I am trying to cut down. I'm trying to quit. I'm trying to quit drinking, trying to quit vaping, quit toking as much, which and this is to answer the other guy's question who's like, how do you cut down on your habits? It just comes naturally. Like one day I just am not as interested in taking kratom. One day I'm not as interested in smoking weed. I might go all day without even puffing a bowl and then be like, wow, I haven't smoked all day. This is weird. Because back in the day, I've always considered myself a stoner, right? I mean, that I had to smoke to survive. So, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Oh. Yep, no, it says you're using the Geek Vape, the Aegis. Yeah, actually, I had one of those. Actually, it's great. Geek Vape also makes the Griffin 25 that I had. I loved it. It never leaked. Yep, no, says you have stenosis and neuropathy, burning in the pain in the feet. It sucks and stinks. Yeah, brother. I empathize. There have been times when my sciatic pain was so bad I was in the hallway crying, and I had my wife help me into the bathtub. Like I couldn't get in myself because it hurt that bad. And I'd go back to work after it got better and fuck it up again. Go back to work because I had to make money, and I had this image that I gotta make a living. It was stressful, man. I was like killing myself to live. And it's so depressing sometimes, man. I know that you and I have had a couple of disagreements in the past over shit. And it's funny because I don't know how your situation is, but sometimes when I get grumpy, it's when I'm in pain or when I'm kind of stressed out, and I think I lash out at somebody over something that's really not related. And I apologize to every single one of you who are out there watching this. If I've ever wronged you, if I've ever talked shit to you, if I've ever been rude, I'm a human being too, okay? I get put on a spot by some comments. Everybody's argued with a loved one or a family member over a mistaken text or, misunderstanding. Of course it's going to happen with YouTube. And I only say that because it's crucial. I don't want anybody to feel shitty about an interaction with me. Why? It's not for my own sake. It's for the sake of a society because I care about you people. People I don't know. People... It sounds weird. I almost feel obligated to like make videos and talk to people about things because I feel like a lot of folks are struggling. And then when somebody says, hey, your video really helped me, I think, oh God, why would my video help somebody? It's just some dumbass long-haired fucking, hippie dude. But if it does, it does. And I'm not going to deny that. And so I feel like I want to make sure that what I do say is legit. So when I'm talking about stress and anxiety, I want you to know that I know what I'm talking about. I know where I'm coming from. I understand my own perspective on these things because I've been there and I've suffered it, and it's often due to that pain that we suffer, physical and otherwise. Okay, I'm going to see where the comments are at and how many we have here. I might have to skip a few, and if I miss your comment and it was important, I appreciate it. And you can leave it again, and I will answer any questions you might have. My dog is going crazy out there. Oxy doesn't help pain for me. It makes me high. Hey, that's funny you say that, my friend. OxyContin and certain pharmaceuticals, they don't help the pain the way that kratom does. This is why the pharmaceutical industry is scared as fuck of kratom. It works. It's not just some vast conspiracy, oh, well, really it's dangerous and they just want it out because it's actually dangerous. No, they took notice because kratom took off like a firestorm. I was a kratom vendor for several years, and I still am, but I don't push it anymore because the quality of kratom has gone so far downhill. It's nothing like it used to be. I still enjoy it. And here's one thing I'd like to say to kratom users out there who say that it's just not doing the same thing it used to do. I say you've got to get up and move. You've got to get up and do something. Like today, I took just a tablespoon of my potent Indo. Holy shit! Usually I don't even really feel much, but I got up and started working on the bathroom. Once your blood's flowing, you're functioning. You're just like, oh god, this is great. All right, I'm focused. I'm motivated. But the thing is, even without the kratom, you can do that too. Even without the coffee. So whether you live straight and sober or whether you prefer to get high, it's really up to you. Okay, I'm going to flip through the comments here. Have you noticed? One thing I've noticed over my 5 years of taking kratom and my arthritis is that my diet can really impact each dose. Have you noticed that? Yes, I think that eating food, some people say that it detracts from the effects. I disagree. It depends on what you're taking and when, but it's really subjective. Your gut biome that makes up, the 1 second. Hold on a second. I don't want to drive the neighbors crazy. I know. My dog was going crazy. So, as I was, your gut biome, your gut bacteria is extremely um, crucial to your well-being. And if you don't eat a proper diet, then those gut bacteria cannot communicate through the vagus nerve with your brain. Have you ever noticed how you get a headache before you puke? I do anyway. Some nights I have a few too many drinks and maybe eat the wrong food. I have a headache all night, I get sweaty, and then you start sweating really quick, and all of a sudden you know you're going to puke, right? You run to the bathroom and you puke. It's pretty rare, but it's happened with certain things I've eaten. The point being that your brain and your stomach are fully in connection with one another. And so eating kratom with certain food, it's very unique to each individual and your own gut biome. And I personally found that kratom can take away my appetite, just like smoking or vaping can. But I've always had a very low appetite. And I know a lot of folks feel insecure because they eat too much. I have the opposite problem. I've never eaten enough, or felt that way anyway. But as I got older and I started learning more about the diet, I realized all these people who, for all these years, have been telling me to eat more, they're just fat fucks. I don't mean that offensively, but you can't tell other people to eat more food when you have a gut on you and you're overweight. And that's all the people who have always told me to eat more. They're always overweight. And I think, okay, so you can sit down and eat this huge meal 3 times a day, but I eat like one meal a day, and for some reason I'm just skinny. But I weigh the same that I've weighed for like 20 years. I weigh like 160. There was times when I weighed 165 when I was working in construction and eating a lot, but building muscle. But it's very average for my height. You don't need that much food. And food highly affects our well-being, but it also highly affects the other substances we take. So, as I said, it's unique to each individual. Nice Sabbath reference. Thanks. Killing yourself to live. Hey, somebody picked up on that little joke I made about killing yourself to live. I wanted to see if I could find this painting that somebody made. I picked it up at Goodwill a while back. I can't find it. It was a really cool painting in a frame, and it was an airbrush. It was all these different sketches, and somebody must have given it up to Goodwill, and it showed a guy with his arm out with a needle in his arm, except for the needle was a pen, a quill pen, and it was more about addicted to art. And at the bottom it had the ink swirling out and said killing yourself to live. I just thought that was kind of cool. If I find it, I'll share it, but it could be anywhere. Yep, no says, I think kratom's negatively affecting my gut biome. You might be absolutely right. I'm still wondering that too. I'm still wondering about the liver effects as well. As Jenna said, I don't know. And that's, yeah, we will definitely have to look more into that. A high metabolism. I'm 125. Chris says, yeah, me too. I have a very high metabolism. All right, I finally got to the bottom of the comments. Sweet. Hopefully I answered the ones that people ask questions on. Penelope says, how to be positive when people around you can be negative and their mood fluctuates. Also, how not to let other people's comments affect your own mood. Bam, that's a perfect question. I love those questions. How to not, first the second part. I'll start with the second part. How to not let other people's comments affect your own mood. This is highly subjective, okay? And it's really highly dependent on how well you know yourself. If you're affected by people's negative comments on videos that you make, that's different. Like, for example, if I see my comments, there will always be one guy who's like, oh, Carpo, you're just dumbass, you don't know shit. Okay, roll my eyes. Maybe tell them off or maybe just ignore them. And if they're too abusive, I mute them eventually. But I just don't really... I always have to answer people who say stupid shit to me because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about half the time. But if they do, then, and maybe they're right, I have come back and told people, hey, look, I made a mistake. I was kind of being arrogant or angry, you know, whatever that night. But I really try to be balanced. Point being, something's going to affect you the way it's going to affect you the minute you see it. You're not going to be able to change that reaction. But over time, you can gradually learn to adjust that. Now, back in my early YouTube days, I had this troll that followed me around. He was a guy who called himself a Christian, but really he was a nutcase. The guy had a serious issue, whether it was schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, a combination of everything above. He had basically just stalked me on every video. And I would always respond to him. And I found this old thing I'd written to him. It was like 3 pages of handwritten stuff that I read in a video to him back in the old days when you could respond with a video response on YouTube. And I don't think I ever even shared it. It was more of the thing of writing it out just to feel it and say, okay, I've expressed myself. But I wrote him a private email one time. And I said, look, I know that you're pissed at me for whatever reason it might be. I don't understand it. However, it was a very long email, and I said, I'm extending the hand to shake your hand and say, hey, man, we're just human. The guy backed away and never came back. He basically disappeared after that. And I think that that's kind of the epiphany, the moment of awareness where you realize if you just don't play people's game, they're not interested anymore. That's one type of comments, if they're trying to troll you. Another type of comments you might be talking about are when you're on, say, reading Twitter or something like that, or YouTube in general, and you just see all these crude comments. My only answer would be if the comments bother you, don't read them. It's hard not to. But I've eliminated social media apps from my phones. I don't get notifications on any of my devices. YouTube, unless I go to YouTube, I don't see my comments, and I don't have a Twitter app on my phone. I don't have Instagram app or any of that. It's really easy to go look at comments and see what other people are saying. But when we step back, we say, what the fuck are we saying to ourselves? What really matters? Let me just put it this way. Whose opinion matters to you? And how do you get them to have a better opinion of you if you think that they're mistaken? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's really hard to talk with people, but I just like to say it's more important to figure out whose opinions matter than to worry about what comments are being said, because people are crude as fuck. 3CX says, I need lots of water when taking kratom. Yeah, that's true for a lot of people. It's same with dehydration with anything else, or the same way that people say that you need to eat a lot before you do this, or drink water before you do this, or that if you take kratom you're going to be constipated. It really depends on the person, because once you get adjusted to it and you're used to the plant, your body accommodates. The one amazing thing I've discovered about the human body, something nobody ever told me when I was younger, and probably because they didn't know shit, is If you've ever heard of neuroplasticity, it's the way that your brain can adapt to anything. You can become a happy prisoner. You can become a crazy Nazi. I mean, any way you can shape your brain to work for you. The body is very similar. There are people who have trained themselves to breathe underwater for 10, 12, 13 minutes. Seriously, they dive down and they go hunting and they can breathe underwater for over 10 minutes. Can you imagine doing that? Well, neither could they when they were young, but they trained for it and they got better at it. You can also train your body to meditate in these crazy wild states and go into these weird mindsets. I mean, there's a million things you can train your body to do, and it's pretty crazy that the body can adjust to these things. So my point was that if you take kratom long enough and regular enough, it seems that the body learns to naturally retain more water. So if you're taking a substance that depletes your water, then your body's going to say, realize this over time, and I think this is why, for me, using a substance consistently can be more rewarding than using it periodically. So, say you take a drug for a month or two, and then you're off it for a month or two, then you're back on it. Your body is continuously in flux. It doesn't know what to think. You know, you're withdrawing, and then you have too much water and not enough water. Consistency is the key to everything. That's my opinion, anyhow. Hmm. Infected Chris, what's up, brother? Go to the hospital every month. Your blood's damn near perfect for over 14 years of kratom use. Wow, you got me beat by fucking 3 years, my man. Well, props, dude. Why didn't you tell me about that shit back in 2007? I discovered kratom when I had to quit smoking pot for probation. I was looking for something else that might give me, I don't know, help me relax and get me to sleep. But I found kratom. It helped me clean my garage instead, my drawers. Not clean my drawers, but clean my drawers. DB says, I think I might have COVID. I've had a horrible cough for the past few days along with other symptoms. Ooh, that sucks, my friend. How's your taste? I heard that's one of the most universal things. My kids have been sneezing. I've been sneezing. My kid was coughing this morning, and my wife's like, "Oh, he's been coughing." I'm like, "But we haven't been anywhere. We haven't even been out anywhere, and no, where would they get sick, right? The kids have been at home for months, so you start to wonder maybe it's something environmental or whatnot. But the one thing I found about COVID is that you lose your sense of smell and taste, and that can be gone for actually some time afterwards. The thing with COVID is I'm most concerned with long-term consequences, not death, and neurological issues. So, yep, no, many people are lacking fiber. It's more important than people realize. You know, I'm wondering, does kratom count as fiber? I've been curious about this. I mean, it's a leaf material, and it's generally, I take it ground. I don't make a tea, so I just take the raw powder, which is sometimes rough ground. I wonder, is that enough fiber? You know, I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe I need to take something more like oatmeal or bran. Kevin Nelson, hello, my friend. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well down in Klamath Falls, if you're still down there. How do you deal with negative feelings from a college class you thought you would pass but ended up getting a high D, almost passing? Um, I've never been to college, so I honestly wouldn't know. I wouldn't know how to feel about that. I really wouldn't. Um, I would say maybe it would tell me that I'm too cocky for my own good. For me personally, like if I were to get a D and I thought I would pass, I might think, okay, then this is the Dunning-Kruger effect, in effect, which is that we think we're smarter than we are until we actually look at the information involved and realize it's much more complicated. This is probably why I go off on people when they tell me, oh, you just trust experts, you're just a sheep, you just listen to the experts and the scientists and the professionals. I'm like, well, these are people who know what is A and B, right? And I don't always trust experts on every single issue, but it's a matter of saying, well, there's authority on things. So when we go to college and we're taking a class and we think we're going to pass it, there's something we're missing, I guess, if we don't pass. And I don't know. That would suck. I'd be depressed too. Hmm. Yeah, Chris asked a good question there. That guy, Ben. Hello, Ben. It says, "Hey Carpo, I've watched a bunch of your videos and I was wondering if you have any must reads when it comes to enlightening, and be it spiritually or being a better person." I would say read them all, because some of the things I read in the past that I got really attached to, nowadays I kind of laugh at. But still, I would say, if you want to, my personal opinion, and it may seem very simple. I know people like these deep, like Kafka and Nietzsche, and they read all these ancient, ancient and modern philosophers, and they feel like having a grasp on all these ideas is going to help. But really, it's as simple as Alan Watts. Not Alan Watts, but Alan Watts. And if you're already on that path, I'm sure you know who he is. Between Alan Watts, um, um, the brothers, the McKenna brothers, Terrence McKenna especially, and Manly P. Hall, those three, just listening to their speeches and lectures, has given me pause many times. And I thought, oh, I forgot about this. And especially Alan Watts, because he keeps it simple. I think that that's enlightenment for what it is. It's a process and a way of living, not a discovery, if that makes sense. I mean, I've had this whole podcast planned for over a year and a half about enlightenment, and I've just let it go by the wayside. Just keep stacking these papers up and all these ideas that I've been writing down, and like, because it's such a joke. It's like every year you realize that people are trying to sell you truth and awareness, but really, it all comes from within, and there's no particular path you can take to get there. I don't believe in enlightenment as a discovery. It's not like an epiphany. Enlightenment is more like just being able to live in the world a certain way. The same as yoga. Yoga is not stretching in yoga pants. Yoga is not has nothing to do with stretches. Yoga has everything to do with a lifestyle. But as it was westernized, it became more about achieving some goal, because humans just want to have it, you know, especially Westerners. They just want to, okay, I got enlightenment now, or I can do yoga now. It's like, no, I have to live every fucking day in this certain mentality, and that's a lot harder. So, yeah, that would be my answer to that. Yep, says Eckhart Tolle is good for spiritual. I don't like Eckhart, but that's a personal opinion. I just think he's too dry. He's not the kind of guy I would want to hang out with. He just seems so fucking boring. I'm not going to say that his ideas don't resonate in some ways, but some of them are just really hokey. In other words, if I were to ever go to see Eckhart Tolle, I would have to, or Tolle, however you pronounce it, I would have to put it on like 8 times speed. I understand pausing to gather your thoughts, but some of these fucking spiritual gurus just do it way too much. A flower. And then they stand around for like, what, 30 seconds before they say something else. And sorry, that guy just rubs me the wrong way, and I don't like him. That's my opinion on Eckhart. Um, but if you were to read him, that would be a different story than listening to him. So, um, 1984, 1776. Really? Okay. I don't know what you mean there, brother. I mean, I could probably make an insinuation of what you meant, but ICP. Fuck, dude. I went to an ICP show one night, and I watched this chick get knocked out by a 2 liter of Faygo. Because they had like wheelbarrows full of Faygo, and they'd shake them up and hit them on the stage, and they'd shoot off like rockets, and I just boom, watched them. ICP was a crazy show. I came home just sticky as hell. Um, yeah. Anyway, DB says you did lose partially smell and taste. Ugh, man. Well, I've been really careful because I definitely don't want to get myself COVID. Fuck that. I've waited this long. Kratom saved your life. Good, my friend Adam. I'm glad to hear it, brother. Carl Jung. I like Carl Jung. I mean, I like his philosophies, but I haven't read a lot of it. Um, I realize that all philosophers and all psychologists and psychiatrists and all ideas about human nature are flawed, just like all religions are flawed in some way, and that you have to pick bits and pieces of them to fit in the current model, to fit the paradigm of the modern life and the modern world that we live in, how our family unit works, our societal unit, socially, westernized Buddhism, if you will, I guess. Yeah, it says, okay, C3DS says, scientific facts are now made by the richest people in power. Facts are made through experiments anymore. They can be paid to say anything. I totally agree on that. Science can be bought out, but not all scientists can be bought out. When you have a consensus about something, you can no longer just say they're all paid off. A lot of scientists, it's kind of like astronomy. When people say, okay, NASA's in on the flat Earth and that they're all lying to tell us the Earth is round and other planets exist. And then you talk to amateur astronomers and you say, well, what are all the amateur astronomers on Earth paid to lie? And it would be the same way about any amateur, person studying things. Like, is every single person lying to you? I mean, it's just not a healthy way to live, in my opinion, to think that all scientists are lying. They can be paid to lie, but there's always going to be a whistleblower that comes forward and tells you the reality. Often those whistleblowers are just looking for fame and fortune. You can tell the difference. You really can. Sometimes the whistleblowers that are coming out saying COVID's a hoax, let's say they call themselves whistleblowers, really they're just looking for ad revenue, or they're just delusional. I mean, today you can't really deny it's a real virus anymore, but 6 months ago people were still saying it didn't exist. Today still people are saying that, but people will believe what they want to believe. And hey, life is precious. People can do what they want with it, I guess. If you're seriously suggesting use of kratom as a source of dietary fiber, your diet probably could use more vegetables. Well, that's quite an assumption there. I wouldn't say that. I know that leaves contain fiber, and I know that plant matter contains fiber, so why wouldn't it make sense? That's partially why people probably get constipated when they take a lot of kratom. Makes sense, absolutely, to me. Penelope says, having a problem with boyfriend's mother. Not sure if I'll ever be accepted. Oh, dude, it's okay. I can't even be accepted by my own family. Don't. You'll never be accepted completely by other people's parents. It's just one of those weird things. I don't know how to deal with that. Judgmental and snobbish, you say. Yeah, those kind of people are just. You just stand your ground and say, hey, I am who I am. Don't give a fuck about their opinion. Don't try to impress people or beat around the bush and pretend like you're somebody you're not for other people. Don't ever do it. Ever. Ever. I mean, if you need to get a job, if you need to stand for some, you know, if it's going to benefit you, sure. But if you're going to have to live the rest of your life putting on that mask, don't do it. You'll get more respect from their snobbish parents if you stick up and put your finger in their face and say, hey, fuck you, this is who I am. Maybe not, but that's how I feel anyway. I have a different opinion. I'm a guy. That's how I deal with shit. The Christmas star is coming. Is it? God, I hope so. I've got one on my tree. um, no, I haven't had that, Yusef. I haven't experienced that. Um, yeah, I'm very. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried that. Mm-mm-mm-mm. There's soluble fiber and insoluble fiber, bud. All right, well, maybe so. It was a legitimate question. I eat what I eat. That's the one thing I've said about. I watched this thing about vegetables the other day and how they're actually causing a lot of problems when people eat too many vegetables. That it can fuck up your intestines, and then of course you have the same problem with eating a lot of meat. I don't believe anybody's like needs for diet. Like I go by my poo if you want to get technical, and if my poo's fine, I'm fine. That's all I can say. Yeah, I don't really think much about it, honestly. When it comes to diet, I eat what I'm hungry for. I feel like too many people really overplay the diet thing and think that they have like the best diet for themselves, and that might be great. I don't believe in a keto diet. I think it's nonsense, even though ketosis can benefit some people. But the thing is, when you quit, your body reacts to that negatively, just like when you use any heavy diet of any particular, you know, I eat what my body wants. I mean, if I want, sometimes I just feel like eating a whole fucking chicken breast. I'm just like, I'm hungry for a chicken breast. I'll throw it in anything and just eat it. Other times, I just want some soup. But I go by what my body wants because I believe that my brain and my gut and my biome are intelligent enough to feed me properly. And when I start to feel crappy, I know why. And it's usually because of some dietary decision I made or I didn't make. But it's not very often. In fact, I like to consume, I don't know, especially if I'm taking like psychedelics over a weekend and I'm not really eating properly. Even though usually after a trip I do like to eat a nice big fat meal. Um, Here's the thing I've found about diet. I get all of my fiber. I like grains. I like eating bread. I like eating. I think the diet's very important to your mood, so I can tell what helps me and what doesn't. I'm an omnivore because meat makes me happy, even though I feel guilty eating it, and I try to eat it in smaller quantities than most Americans. But as far as fiber, I'm sure I get it from one place or another. I just go by what I get. I found that like people's example. We've been told, right? We've been taught the food pyramid for so long, right? And now it's complete ass backwards. I mean, they're changing it constantly. What they said we needed for our diet also included dairy, right? So there's these people telling you need dairy in your diet. So when people say I need fiber, I just feel it's the same way. Like, I'll get fiber from something, whatever it might be, whatever I eat. And if my body doesn't get enough, it'll probably tell me what to eat. At least I hope so, or maybe I'll die next week. Jay says alpha male status. Yeah, dude. There's not. It's zeta male, bro. No, Jupiter and another planet are lining up on the 21st. And that's funny because Jupiter is actually my planet. If you go by like birth signs, and I call myself Carpo. People don't realize that Carpo is a moon of Jupiter, but I didn't choose it because of that. The Carpo name for Jupiter's moon was actually named after, like, 6 or 7 years after I'd chosen Carpo, because I was back in like '91, I think that I chose it, '92, and they named it in like '98 or '99. So I was like, I didn't even know it until like 2008 or 12 or something. And I was like, oh, there's a moon on planet Jupiter called Carpo, but it is the alpha planet. It's a monster, so I'm glad to have it as mine. I mean, you got to be bigger than life sometimes, right? I mean, it's kind of funny. There are some people who just have that air about them, and I definitely don't want to be that person. I like to have kind of withdraw and have my own little reality. But anyway, yeah, I don't mind being represented by Jupiter. Jupiter and Saturn. Did you know that Saturday is actually Saturn Day? A lot of people don't know that. And Sunday is obviously Sunday. Monday is Moon Day, and so on down the line. Thursday is Thor's Day. The whole, they were all planetary, and it's fascinating. I was talking with somebody earlier about what a waste of time it is to study occult knowledge, because they were saying that they got mad at me for something I'd said on a comment, and like, if you just knew 369, and gave me that old crappy like Tesla line. I'm like, do you know what 369 is? There's so many people out there who just repeat all this occult knowledge that, oh, I read this in this book, and think that they understand some deeper connection to the world, but can't articulate it. And I think that that's one of the crucial things, is being able to articulate ourselves, not just in knowledge, but also back to anxiety and stress. If you really want to know why you're stressed out or why you're feeling down, you have to be able to articulate your negative feelings in a way. I mean, you have to be able to figure out what it is that pisses you off. Roberta, if my poo is fine, I'm fine. Love that. All right, Spinning Whale says, vegan here, vegan nation taking over. Don't you think that that's a little arrogant? Vegan nation taking over? I mean that in respect, but I think that vegans tend to put on this air of quite a bit of arrogance about being vegan. And we know that humans historically were omnivores. I respect animals. I do not like the way that animals are treated or harvested, and I try to eat, respectable foods. But the reality is that we know what tastes good and what feels good. That's up to each individual. But I would just say Meat Eaters Nation, just to kind of counter that. Omnivore Nation, right? CJP says, "Are you getting a COVID vaccine?" Nope, not now. Not maybe in a few years if ever if it had been tested, but by then I won't even worry. I'm sure. I'm more worried about the long-term effects of the vaccine or of the disease itself. So I'm not planning on getting one. Mm. Leonard says kratom is fiber, but doing oxy and most opioids do the same thing. It's questionable. You're correct. I know what you're saying. What you're talking about is how it's when you take any type of opiate, it generally slows your digestive system. It's a byproduct of taking opiates or kratom. So yes, part of that has to do with your digestive system slowing. But plant matter definitely plays a role in that. So that's why I mentioned it. But yes, you're completely correct. My thing died there. Yeah, I have nothing wrong with vegans. I mean, I, yeah, like Roberta says, I feel guilty eating meat too. I try to buy grass fed when I can. Me too. And I don't eat a lot of meat. I think what it's important is not what we eat, but how much of it we eat and not beating ourselves up over eating what's good. It's like a person can make the same argument for never driving a car, right? They could say, I don't want to contribute to, climate change, global warming, pollution, so I'm never going to drive a car. But if you're taking a bus, you're also contributing to pollution, right? So let's just say you decide to never take any vehicle anywhere. You're only going to suffer because of it, right? You're not going to be able to go on vacations, go on trips, enjoy your life. And I feel like it's the same way with meat. You can get such a dense package in such a small amount when there's times when just eating a little bit of meat can go a really long way, and it's just important not to overdo it. I'm not talking eating hamburgers for every meal, so it's just knowing yourself. That's all. Dairy is gross, says Chris. Yeah, it is, but I drink milk. I still love my chocolate milk. I can't help it. I like I like organic whole milk, and I love to just dump chocolate in there. And it was a guilty pleasure of mine when I was younger, all the way up until about 5 years ago when I actually quit drinking it. I could drink like 2 full glasses of chocolate milk before bed. I'd even wake up sometimes like knowing that I drank that, like a little sweaty, like, I shouldn't have drank that, but it's so good. I've come a long way in my diet, and I've really changed as I've gotten older, but it's hard to deprogram. And if you spend all your time worrying about what you're eating, it's just more fucking stress when you're already stressed in life. I like my candy sometimes. In fact, what up, Chris? You said you saw 6 meteors last night. You fucking bastard. You got to see the meteor shower. Damn it. It's not the Perseids, but it's yeah, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, that was supposed to be the best meteor shower of the whole year. And it was completely raining like crazy last night. I didn't get to see shit. Just didn't get to see any of them. Jay Mute says, "Do you realize a lot of people are having relationship problems?" Well, yeah, life is one big relationship problem, my friend. It's just, let me just put it this way. Most of the time, people go to work and they don't have to look each other in the eye all fucking day. And I know that sounds a little very simplistic, but it's true. A lot of the families that are home, people have been saying things like, well, families are fighting and arguing. And I'm like, well, then the families need to get their shit together. Because we have our arguments as a family too, but we're not using COVID as an excuse because we're trapped at home to realize, a lot of people don't like each other. A lot of couples don't like each other. And a lot of parents don't like their kids, and a lot of kids don't like their parents. And when everybody is home for a period of time, it really shows something that is kind of hard for people to admit, that some people just are not compatible. So when relationships suffer, it means that you need to do more for the relationship, or stop trying to control, or stop being controlled. But it's complicated. I'm not trying to oversimplify this. I know it's a difficult thing. Yep, says vegan is the most dangerous diet. I agree. I like meat. Roberta, I was plant-based for a year and I loved it. Need to go back. So that lifestyle one day soon. Okay, so you say that you were plant-based for a year, but you need to go back. So my question, Roberta, is why did you leave it in the first place? Could you not resist having a burger, or was it a steak? I don't know. I'm just curious because sometimes we're just caught in a situation where we've got to eat meat. People have actually really fucked themselves up not eating the right foods because they're scared to eat the right foods when they know that they need it. But okay, Flow News says, talk about ayahuasca, please. I don't want to talk about ayahuasca right now. But if you say it 8 more times, I might. It's possible. Um, Chris says, I love being on a plant diet. I feel great. That's awesome, man. Time to hit hits from the bong bowls. No, I ain't gonna take no hits from the bong bowl today. I've been smoking my little vape. My wife found it in the couch. I spent 8 full hours today finishing my bathroom remodel, and I'm so stoked on it. Got almost all the paint, everything done, all the trim put up. I'd love to show you guys, but you didn't see what it was like before, so it's pointless. But I've got like 100 videos I want to put together eventually into this, like showing how I cut different things and put the trim in. Having carpentry skills really, it's fucking awesome. You know, I forget how easy it is for me to just grab some wood and throw it on the saw and make whatever I want out of it. It's like some people are just struggling and don't know how to do that. And it's because I kind of lost my way for a while because I was fucked up. My back got fucked up. Yusef says, Mushroom told me, so you think these plants aren't alive and not intelligent? Yeah, well, that's because plants are definitely conscious and aware of us. I talk to trees, and I believe that mushrooms are even more intelligent than the plants. The mushrooms themselves are actually just the fruiting body of the underground mycelium. And the mycelial network, actually, the honey fungus in Eastern Oregon is the largest organism in the world. And it's like a few square miles of just pure mycelium. Every year it comes up, it's the same mushroom, the same mycelium, but it fruits everywhere within this region. Huge mass of mycelium. So I think mushrooms are highly intelligent. J Mute says, how do you pray? I walk through the woods. I pray by walking through the woods. Deja says, if people feel guilty about eating meat, they should feel guilty about the plants. I've thought about this exact same thing, and I thought, well, you have to draw the line somewhere. I mean, people have to eat something. Plants aren't considered the same type of pain, feeling the same type of pain. To back up for a minute with the honey fungus. So if a person were to cut a bunch of these honey fungus, what you're doing is you're just taking a fruiting body off the mycelium. You're not killing a whole organism. Likewise, when you're harvesting some plants, these often the foods that we eat as humans want to be eaten. So it's important to realize most of the food that we eat are annual foods, or I guess perennial foods, right? The annuals like apples, oranges, things like this, they want to be eaten too. Fruits are begging to be eaten. That's how they spread their seed. So there's nothing they want more than to be eaten. And the same with vegetables. A lot of these vegetables want to be eaten by either birds or animals. So plants do want to be eaten. They really do. It's just a matter of which plants. So you shouldn't feel guilty about it at all. They're just sitting there going, okay, I'm ripe and ready to harvest. You know, it's like they're just asking for it, dude. Ayahuasca's good, he says. I'm not an ayahuasca person. I've done DMT dozens of times. I've taken mushrooms dozens of times and LSD well over 100 times, I'm sure. I've done my psychedelic experimenting and got to the point now where I've been taught what I can be taught by that plant. I've learned my lesson. I've learned what's valuable in life, and it always comes down to family. What the plants have taught me, I've heard a lot of people talk about what the psychedelic experiences have taught them, about what matters, about this or that, or how I've seen through the illusion, the world doesn't really exist. You know what they've taught me? What are you doing out here in the woods tripping with your friend? You should be at home with your family hanging out. Every single time. or at least just that relationships are the most important thing. And that's what I have learned from psychedelics. Because you can learn all these crazy experiences about how the world is an illusion. None of that really does anything in a practical sense. I'm telling you that now from my experience. You may have a different viewpoint. This is why I say let enlightenment go. It's bullshit for the most part. And that's how I feel about it. Roberto, the earth is a living, breathing entity. That's right. Gaia is the term. Where are we at here on the comments? Then maybe a cow wants to be eaten. Maybe. They're fat and slow, so they're easy to catch. Another interesting thing is that a lot of psychedelic mushrooms grow on cow patties. Cows have always been harvested by humans, and it makes you wonder why these mushrooms grow so close to humans. Slaughter man, huh? Nice. Bull nose rings. Yeah, Roberta. Meat that's raised by the right people, any food that's raised by the right people makes the difference. That's why when I grow my own vegetables, the few I grow every year, I'm so grateful to have them. They always taste phenomenal, just like food would, I'm sure. I'm getting hungry. I hate factory farming. Yeah, me too. Yeah. So, I guess we've talked about food now here for a minute, but I don't want to talk about food anymore. I just finished eating dinner. We had a delicious salad. It was a delicious, what kind of Caesar salad with chicken. And it's one of the few times the family sits down together. I'm sure that a lot, I know that some of you are young, some of you are old, some of you don't have kids, some of you do. Whether you're in a relationship or not is going to be unique to your circumstances. But, for me, having 3 kids and a wife and a home, this last year has been trying, to try to get through this COVID thing without being too strongly affected, not just by the issues themselves that come up, like not being able to go to concerts. That's honestly our biggest thing. My wife was saying the other day, she's like, I don't even really mind being home. I like it. And it's actually not that bad. It's just not being able to go out and do anything. We like to go to little concerts. We went to a motel the other night, okay, because we wanted to get out and do something. There was no concerts, nothing going on, of course. So we're like, we'll rent a room at the McMenamins Lodge. And we went down there and spent the night there. And there was nobody. I mean, the parking lot was completely fucking empty. The place was just dead. I mean, and of course there's no live music. The bars aren't open. Not even the soaking pool was open, and it's a big outdoor salt soaking pool. It's heated. It's awesome. So we're just basically confined to our room with room service if we want to do that. It's like, God, what the fuck, So we went outside in the back, and it was kind of raining, but there was a little, or I guess it was just cold. But there was a little barbecue pit or a little fire pit where they had some wood, and dude stoked it for us and got it going. It was nice and relaxing, but it's not the same. I want to gather with a big group of people and spit on everybody. Have them spit on me. You know what I'm saying? A concert. Of course, I wouldn't do that even if that was an option right now. I definitely don't want to get COVID, and I don't want to deal with that shit. But I'm hoping by next summer things will be different. I remember telling people this is not going to go away by this winter. It's just crazy. People thought this was going to disappear. So. Best salads ever. Yeah, salads from your own garden are the best. Corn from your own garden is actually the best. Steve says, I miss the EDM shows. It's so funny you say that because I was just in the house. I was playing Dead Mouse yesterday. I played Raise Your Weapon. It's a song by Dead Mouse, and it's a catchy one. It gets stuck in your head, and I've heard it a million times, but I hadn't heard it in a while. And then my wife's tonight, she's like, oh, I want to request a song after this one's over. And she's like, I want to hear that Raise Your Weapons. She's probably had it stuck in her head all day, just like I do every time I hear it. And So we played that, and that's when that song was playing, I was just sitting there going, damn it, this is, I really miss going to shows. I mean, I've been to a few Excision shows by myself, and I don't know anybody else who listens to Excision, and he's not my favorite or anything, but when you go to an Excision show at the Roseland Theater in Portland, the bass literally just shakes. I watched like plaster falling out of the cracks in the ceiling. It's insane. It's like 150,000 watts of bass. I don't know how much he was able to use in there, but anyway, I like a good bass show. I like shaking music. I like the energy of the people there, and I like to dance my ass off. I don't care if I'm really interacting with people. I just like being around other people because their energy is there. There is an underlying spiritual connection and an energy with crowds that you can just look people and just smile and understand where they're coming from. You can't explain that, and you can't find that anywhere else. Anywhere else. Even going to some late night, smaller, kind of grungier EDM shows, like Down the Rabbit Hole is one here in Portland, and then they have like an after party, and you're talking some like down and dirty, hot, stanky bar fucking dancing. They even have beds in the back where people go and do their thing. It's pretty crazy, some of these parties, these after parties, but uh, all of it's over, right now. It's over. That's a line from that song, actually. But anyhow, yeah, as you can see, I'm kind of reminiscing. I'm missing all these concerts. I go to the regional Burning Man, which is Soak every year here, and I missed it last year because I was too stubborn to sign back up for Facebook, and the tickets sold out before I could get one. My computer got screwed up. I missed I missed the event because I would refuse to sign back up for Facebook. I was so disgusted with Facebook, but my loss, because this year we couldn't have one either. So here we are, right? Anyway, I'm gonna head out pretty quick here. I'm just gonna flip through these comments here and say goodbye and hi to everyone. I'm pretty much covered what I wanted to cover, talking about stress and whatnot. I don't know. I always get off topic towards the end because I end up talking about random things with all the peeps. I mean, I could probably stick around and talk for 2 more hours, but I feel like I should get back in there and watch a movie with the family. I don't know what. What's a good movie right now on Netflix or Hulu or fucking any of these other stupid platforms? Yeah. It's years now. Thanks for getting the song stuck in my head. Steve, see? And it's over. See, you're going to be singing that song all night now. Raise your weapon. See, if you haven't heard the song, you've got to look it up now. Raise Your Weapon by Deadmau5. See, and you'll listen to it, and you'll be like, yeah, whatever. It's just a fucking stupid beat, techno song. And then the next day, you'll be like, what is that? I've got stuck in my head. Oh, god damn it. Let me just tell you this. I bonded with electronic music over psychedelics. I was not a huge fan. My buddy showed me STS-9 a long time ago, and that's kind of a fusion between rock and hippie and like jam band stuff and like EDM. I mean, there's a lot of fusion. That's why I love like Papadosio. They're more on the rock side, but I listen to let's see, we go to try to. I love STS-9, and then there's a couple others that we really like Lotus, and it's kind of like it's EDM, but it's a band, and it's musicians, not just a DJ. And there's a big difference to me in having a group of guys playing music together than one dude trying to put out a beat, because then when he's playing live, it's just him sitting there with a stupid fucking computer like an idiot. No offense, Excision, but that's pretty much what it is. A dude standing there with his fucking computer playing something that was pre-programmed, and it's cool. The show at Excision is totally worth it. I mean, his light show and the bass alone is fucking epic. So I mean, that pays for the ticket alone. It's not like I'm staring at him. I'm looking at the crazy graphics and shit, but they have to present something bigger. when you have a band, you can just sit them on stage, you know, and they can put out some amazing music through, which is like a combination of electronic and rock. I don't know. It's a fusion thing. Keyboards and Moog synthesizers kind of brought, and guitars just brought in this sound that turned into, because I play bass and guitar. My buddy was telling me about a bass synth the other day, or it's actually a guitar. It's a pedal, but the pedal converts your bass or guitar into a synthesizer, so you can choose which notes you want. It's just like an effects pedal, but makes it like a Moog kind of. Which, if you don't know what a Moog is, I ain't gonna explain it, but. Tamra, COVID survived here, knocked others out at home with naturopathic and supplements. I have these pills that I made, capsules. I put them up for sale a while back. They're called like What the Flu. It was like What the Fuck, obviously, but What the Flu. And it was made for like 4 or 5 years ago during the last swine flu. Not SARS-CoV-1, but I think it was somewhere between then and now. One of these viruses, and I thought a lot of people were worried, and I was like, well, I'll just make something with all the best mushroom extracts I can. And I have a huge fucking batch of it up here, which is like, it's like $200 or $300 worth of various mushroom extracts, and I have to put it into capsule form still, but I take those and give those to my family and shit, and hope that, you know, if anybody has any symptoms, I'll be popping those things like candy. I'm definitely favor natural supplements when I can. Daniel says, Ava's a good film. Hey, thanks, man. Actually, I just watched that the other night. Ava. It wasn't bad. Actually, it was pretty good. Sue said, Schitt's Creek. Hey, yeah, I've seen that a million times on there. I watched a couple episodes, I think it was a couple years back. It's been out for a while, I think. And maybe I'll have to check that one out again. It's that kind of dry humor that's hard you have to get into it, right? This is how I feel about, because I'm not a big movie buff, but I do like a good show. But I'm also kind of weird, you know, obviously Family Guy is, you know, it makes me laugh. South Park is probably my favorite show ever, if that tells you anything. I think it is the smartest, wittiest, most crucial and important television show ever to come out in history. And people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? South Park? Like, I'm like, yes. South Park has dealt with every goddamn issue. You name one thing that's happened in society over the last 20 years, and South Park has done an episode about it. Shit that not even fucking Simpsons would touch, you know? And, you're like, god damn, how were they so on top of these things? Like a day after something happens, they have an episode out that totally nails it. Unbelievably well done over the years. I mean, the first couple seasons were hit and miss, but lately it's been pretty amazing. They've done a pretty good job. It kind of faded over the last year or so. Anyway, I like shows that really push the boundaries, but I don't like ones that are just totally crude. That's the kind of the trade-off right there. Like, that's why I've been watching Rick and Morty for a second time. I love that show. But there's points where it's like, oh god, are you kidding me? Like, you actually wrote this shit? I mean, how did this get from the idea into the sketch and then into the show, and actually people thought it would be funny? But other times it's hilarious. Half-Baked, Jamie says. I love Half-Baked. That's a great movie. Blade Runner director's cut. Yeah, I mean, Blade Runner was okay if you're talking about the original one. I don't know, but I was never a big fan of that movie. I tried to watch it again a while back, and it's just like, maybe I have to give it another shot. Abby says Schitt's Creek is stupid funny. Well, that's my kind of stupid funny. I like stupid. Is Schitt's Creek acceptable for kids? That's always the trick. I don't go by the R or the PG rating. You always have to wonder if it's actually legit to watch with your family. Home Alone, huh? We just watched Home Alone about a month ago. Yeah, the whole family. We watched part 1 and 2, and I don't know if we watched 3. Anyway. Yep, says Christmas Chronicles. Yep, I loved that. That was a great movie. Kurt Russell, I think. We actually just watched. We watched it last year, and then I watched part two this year. We watched that about a week ago. So yeah, I guess we have watched quite a few. Gump. I haven't seen Gump in a long time. I gotta make the kids watch Forrest Gump, but it's a long ass movie, and it's one of those movies that's probably not available on any of the streaming platforms, right? Infected mushroom. What about infected mushroom? I'm wearing an infected mushroom shirt, brother. How did you know that? See? I'm not kidding. I'm wearing an infected mushroom fucking hoodie. I guess it's not a hoodie. That's right. It's just a shirt, long sleeve shirt. Yeah. That was a good show. I love reggae, but I heard it through Sublime, though Sublime was reggae. Sublime is like one of my favorite bands ever, of all time. Bradley and the crew were just like, they remind me of 96, hanging out 97 with my friends down at High Rocks by the Clackamas River, by this bridge. We'd jump off of the rocks into the water, listening to Sublime on our little boombox and shit. And yeah, there were good times with Sublime back in the day. Hendrix Does Monterey. Yeah, I used to love that album. In fact, like in the early 90s, that was like one of my favorite albums. I had it on tape though, and I just listened to that tape over and over and over. Die Hard. Yeah. I actually do want to watch Die Hard again. It's been a while. So, Primus 3D. Dude, I fucking love Primus. Film Elvis system, is it? You know, it's so weird. It's such a different thing flipping through comments and then responding than it is like making a regular video. Favorite emoji. What are emojis? I've never seen emojis before. Sublime. Japan is so beautiful. Well, buy me a ticket. I'll fucking go to... Dude, I'll go there any day. Yep, says, really love Tool and A Perfect Circle. I wasn't a fan of The Perfect Circle. They're good. Didn't listen to them much. I was never a big fan of Tool. I have several of their albums. And it was funny because my friend was over the other night, and he kind of looks like Les Claypool from Primus. I told him he always reminded me of him, and he could play all those bass lines back in the day, so that added to the kind of humor of it. But I was saying how I think it was him. We were talking about Tool, and I was saying how talented they are, but I just don't like them. And he's like, I don't either. It's like, I just can't listen to them. It's the same shit over and over. And it's funny because a Tool fan will tell you that Tool is the most amazing band. That they're not all Tool fans, but there are some diehard Tool fans that just say they just love Tool. And I don't understand it. I've listened to tons of their shit over the years when it came out at work and elsewhere, and even listened to it later over the years. I'm just like, okay, it's just metal. I'm more of a Pantera kind of guy. I like something a little heavier and faster, maybe. I don't know. Don't know how else to put it. My pot pie. Integrity Farms. 1999, a special year. Yeah, it was a special year for me, actually. 75. I was like 24. My wife and I had just met, and it was like we just got together. We were living on this farm. It was a really cool time. Roberta says, Carpo, have you heard from Aaron Knox? He has a channel. He lives in South Africa. Not his last name. You're talking about Aaron Goch, Goch. No, I haven't heard from him in a while, but I guess it's probably been a while since he uploaded. It's been a couple months. He talked about he was having some issues. He's a great guy. I like Aaron. He's one of the few YouTubers that I've actually still comment and talk with after like 10 years. But I also felt like Aaron got kind of caught in this web of depression. Here's the thing. I don't want to talk shit about anybody's situation because I don't know anybody's personal life or situation. But I guess what I mean is that all of his videos tended to kind of move towards the dark corner. It was always about the problems in society, and I felt like he was kind of suffering in his own way. And I see this because I've seen it myself. There have been times when I've talked about certain subjects, and I'm like, am I just depressed? Why am I talking about this? Why am I not talking about something more positive? Um, and I think that he may have had run into some hard times recently. I think he had the mentality that COVID was going to be used as some mind control and that it wasn't real. I'm not sure if that's the story or not. I don't recall if that was him, um, but then he talked more about it about a month or two ago, maybe, and then I just haven't heard from him. I have no idea, but maybe he's just having a change of address or a lifestyle. It's really weird because I talk with YouTubers sometimes that make videos and talk with me for years and then just disappear out of the blue. And then I run across them again, like years later. I'm like, oh shit, I totally forgot about this person. I wonder, like, why did this person disappear? Like, what was their deal? Like, when I first got on here, when I first started YouTube, I was talking a lot about the occult and things like, hidden knowledge, Manly P. Hall type things like ancient scriptures, and which attracted a lot of Christians who hated me. And I built this kind of resistance to these people who were like, oh, that's all satanic. I really don't like hearing about Satan and the devil because it's a fucking children's story. There's no such thing as the devil. I can't believe that people in this modern day believe that the devil is a real thing. But that's for another story. I have the Secret Teachings of All Ages, which is a Manly P. Hall book, which covers many different aspects of secret knowledge and hidden occult knowledge and whatnot. And I used to talk with this other guy who had a channel. His name was Aaron as well, I think, but I think it was, God. Oh, it was Archaic. Yeah, I'll just give the first part of it. It was Archaic, and some of you may remember him. And there was a couple others. I don't want to give people off by name, so there were like 3 or 4 of us and that would talk about these things and exchange info on each other's videos. And then they got trolled by the same guy I did. And they got into this whole thing where they ended up actually having to file like lawsuits against this dude for like physical harassment or for doxing them or something. That's when I stepped away. It was the same guy that I was just like, whatever, man. I'm not interested in arguing with people anymore online. I don't need to think that there's just some giant war going on between good and evil, because that's what happened. They started to believe that there was this ongoing war between good and evil and that they were on the side of good. And their YouTube experience turned into a giant battle. And so yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I was just thinking about that, but I'm not saying Aaron Gawk has that same situation, but yeah, it's weird how YouTube changes. Everything changes, man. Depression. I want to leave on the note of I wanted to leave on the note of trying to tell people kind of the main point as I started this video, as I said, was learning to conquer anxiety and depression. And it's very subjective. It's deep breaths. Just let go of the stupid shit. Don't let people fucking push you around. Don't let people take you don't let people take you for granted. That's all. Carpet is too wholesome for trolls. Dude, I put trolls in their place, man. You can't troll me. I mean, you just can't. I mean, that's the thing. I over the years, when I discovered I'd been trolled a few times, I was like, oh, you learned your lesson, right? Now when trolls come around, God, there are some really people that are really, really bad at it, They're like, your face is ugly or something like that. You're just like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, well, thank you. I take very good care of it. Or whatever example that you want to give. People who they're trying to get a reaction. And so every one of my comment sections, not all of them, but a majority have at least one comment that you could tell they're just trying to push buttons, right, to get somebody to respond. I've noticed this on Twitter, and I've said this before. I only signed up for Twitter a few months ago, just so I could pipe back at the bullshit. But I realized that's all it is. It's an echo chamber, and so I've tried to just ignore it and make it fun. Log on once in a while and just post something stupid. I don't really give a fuck, don't take it too seriously. There are people who spend all day long on Twitter just arguing with other people. It's really crazy. But that's their own thing, I guess. But there's plenty of trolls on Twitter. There's plenty of trolls on YouTube and elsewhere. But at least with YouTube, you have to have a screen name. The early days of YouTube, it was like the Wild West. Anybody could leave a comment under any pseudonym, and it really was toxic. So I know that a lot of folks got angry when YouTube was supposedly cleaned up, but honestly, it is better for creators, the ones that survived the purge. At least people have to own up to their bullshit. Because too many people don't fucking live up to their bullshit. Phil says, I'm down to do DMT in the desert. Well, let's all meet up somewhere and fucking smoke some DMT in the desert. I'm down. No. Oh, what does he say? Diet, exercise, sleep. Don't be afraid to reach out. That's right, Chris. You got it, my friend. I don't get the right diet or exercise, but let me just tell you this. I get plenty of sleep. I don't have to wake up for anything. I refuse to wake up for an alarm clock when I have no job, so. Yeah, Abby says, Carpo, you are beautiful. Well, thank you, my dear. I appreciate that. Good night, everybody, or whoever's going to bed. I said I was going to go to bed a few minutes ago, but I didn't. I love to laugh, the best thing. Yes. I love to laugh as well. I don't laugh enough. Recently, I don't laugh enough. Maybe that's why I watch some absurd comedy, but you guys make me laugh. That's funny. I don't really laugh, of course, out loud while I'm making a video. Once in a while, but it's kind of nice when I'm in there talking with people directly. Chris says, I'm not sure how many people remember those old days of YouTube. Yeah, I joined in 2000. Let's see. Yeah, I joined in 2010. So there's plenty of people who joined before me. I've been on YouTube for 10 years, but I've only really been uploading for about 9 years. But regularly. I mean, I have over 4,500 videos on YouTube last time I checked. That's just on one channel. I was just like, holy shit. What a waste of fucking time. Dude, what are you doing? But I'm hoping that I'm building a brand. I'm hoping that sometime in my life it'll pay off. I'm not talking about financially. It already has paid off just talking with people. It's already paid off just interacting and having connections, but that maybe I'll find what I want to do with my career. Just like somebody was saying, I don't know what I want to do for a career at 29. Well, welcome to being 45 and not knowing what your career is going to be either. It's the same thing. I know exactly where you're coming from. So, as Chris was saying, anyway, 2010, the old days of YouTube were totally different. It was totally different. I could make a video like a quick video and be like, dude, that was fucking awesome. Thanks for sharing. And I could post that, and then I could click that and link it to somebody else's video. So you'd go to a video, you'd watch their video, underneath were the comments, and then in the comments, it would be a video responses were able to be posted. You could post either a comment or a video response, or I don't think you could do photos, but you could do video responses. And it was pretty fucking cool, because then people could see your face when you were like, dude, thank you for sharing this. You could really or you could give a rebuttal saying, dude, your video was bullshit. I don't agree with it. And people were able to meet new people that way. And also, you could send private messages through YouTube, something they just completely abolished. Because they just want you on the algorithm flipping through video after video. And it's sad, but you got to make it what you want to be. Phil says he camps in the desert all the time. Yeah, I used to go to southeastern Oregon every year. Down by the Oregon and Nevada border was our favorite spot. My dad would take us down to Trout Creek Mountain Range. It was beautiful. I love the desert. Roberta's like, I'm in the desert, let's go. Not that desert, that's too far away. That's you're in Arizona, dear. I'm scared of Arizona, but I'm sure it's beautiful there. Adam says, have you tried tianeptine? No, I've heard about it, haven't tried it. I'm staying away from all new enes. And when I say enes, it's anything with INE on the end, or amines, or cocaine, or I have caffeine or nicotine. There's a lot of different drugs out there, and tianeptine has helped some people, but I always get it mixed up. I don't know if that's the one that might have withdrawals when you quit using it, but from what I understand, people who quit have had issues. Good night, Chris. Yeah, I'm going to be heading out pretty quick here, too. Rattlesnakes. Yeah. I almost stepped on a rattlesnake a few years back. We were hunting them. I was young. I was out with a couple other guys and their dad in California, and they're like, stop! And I was like, my foot was up. I was about to like step on a rattlesnake, and he was like coiled up. And my buddy's like, he's gonna strike you. And I backed up, grabbed my 22, fucking shot his head. And then we took him back and we skinned him, and we ate him. It was gross. Fucking disgusting. Eating a rattlesnake was so disgusting. I think I was about 15 or something. Caitlin says, I want to be a welder. Well, fucking do it, dear. Do it. That's awesome. I've been a woodworker for most of my life. Like I said, I just finished my bathroom. I can whip out like trim and cut all different. I can do amazing anything you can imagine with wood. But I don't know shit about metal. And my buddy, he's been welding lately. And if I do welding, it's going to be a fucking art form for me. And I'm going to perfect it. I wouldn't mind getting like a TIG welder, or, learning how to use a plasma torch or any of that shit. Because, I mean, learning how to work with metal is something that is like the last thing. I make cabochons and stone jewelry. I've worked with, hemp, things like that. And I've worked with glass. I've even blown glass with my friends. I just have never messed with metal like that. I think it'd be great. But I really wanted to have a forge and my own silver melting so I could make my own, like, jewelry. And God, I'd love to make my own jewelry and make a living off of it. Carpo, what's your favorite animal? Do you have a spirit animal? Mine would be an otter. Hi, Penelope. Actually, my spirit animal would be a rabbit, from what I understand. They're pretty timid, but they will bite. I have a few different ones, and I think that most people have had. Let me just put it this way: every guy wants to say, "Oh yeah, my spirit animal's the bear, the wolf," but the black bear is probably the closest I'll become. I've always had kind of a secret passion for the bear and the wolf. Now I have both of them in these head things that I wear when I go to festivals. I actually have several different kinds. I have one that I found that was a bear, and this is my other wolf one, but I have two white ones that I have a brown one, and I have white ones for my future. I have bought two white ones, so as my beard turns white, I can start wearing the white ones. And it sounds funny, but when I bought them, my beard was not white. I mean, it was like 5 or 6, 7 years ago, and now my beard's turning white, so I can actually start wearing the other ones. But, well, fuck you then. Yeah, here we go. Here's the one. Here's the brown version, the other one. Anyway, the wolf is one of my spirit animals, and this is called a spirit hoodie, by the way. They've got little pockets in them and little paws. These things are so warm, and they're awesome. And if you've never seen them before, you definitely got to get one. These spirit animal things, they come and go. People have different different moments in their life where animals represent them in different ways. We're not always the same person. Last summer, I was, not this past summer, but the summer before, my oldest son and I went to Montana, went to Glacier Park, took the school bus up some pretty gnarly roads, went up to a lake up there, It was the furthest northern lake. And took the bus up a road that the ranger said we shouldn't go up, but we went up anyway. Got there, it was the most beautiful campsite. I mean, it was unbelievably beautiful. And we were walking up the trail. We were warned that there were bears in the area. We knew there were black bears. And you're supposed to make noise when you're on the trail. You don't want to come across a bear and scare it and its cubs. But I did. I couldn't help it. I was quiet the whole trip, pretty much. You're supposed to say, hey bear, or have a bell. At least have bear spray. Now, I was dead set on seeing a bear. We got a half a mile up the trail, and there's a fresh pile of shit on the trail. I was like, yes. So we hiked. It was a long hike. It was like a 15-mile hike. We hiked all the way up to the headwaters of the lake, like a 7-mile hike. And then we had a picnic up there, stripped down, jumped in the water, took a swim. Then we came back. We're about halfway back, and I come into this thicket. And as I'm walking through this thicket, I'm thinking, on the trail, I'm thinking, this would be the perfect place to come across a bear. I come around the corner, and there's a fucking black bear right in the trail. I was so excited. And my older son's behind me, and he's just like, dun, dun, dun. And I was like, stop, wait, bear. And he's like, his instinct was to go, hey, bear. He scared the bear off. And I was like, that was the right thing to do. That was the right thing to do. I don't fault him for that. But I was being selfish, and I wanted to stand there and get a photo. I wanted to, like, I don't know. I was fascinated by bear wildlife. Just, I'm connecting with this animal I'd only seen once before crossing a road in front of me. But anyway, then it kind of ran off into the bushes. It was a pretty good sized black bear, not huge, but so I mean, it's not like we were in danger. We had a Smith and Wesson 357 with hollow points. It's not like we were worried about dying or anything. I mean, even if it rushed us, which black bears never do, it would have. But who wants to shoot a bear, right? I really should have had bear spray. That would have been better. Anyway, so yeah, that's my long way of saying, yeah, I like spirit animals. I do believe in that shit, and it depends on where I'm at right now. I'm flipping through comments. My spirit animal is Milo. Is that from Milo and Otis? Roberta? Is that one you're talking about? The galaxy. What wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it be cool to go out in space? Just like travel, fucking see the galaxy from out there, like away from the sun, where you could get like a full view of the stars. I don't know. That's kind of off subject, but fucking A, man. Voodoo, Roberta, Carpo. On board? Who's on board with what? What did I miss? Are we all gonna just smoke DMT? You don't want to smoke DMT with me, dude. You might never come back. I've got some stories, my friends. I've got some fun stories. In fact, I really wanted to share some awesome, funny stories from when I was a kid with you guys. I'm hoping one day I can do that. I've always thought of stories as kind of like a secondary thing, like who wants to hear my personal stories? But man, there's some pretty funny ones regarding psychedelics, running around with mushrooms at like Burning Man events. Like you feel like you're in a play, like in a movie, and you're gathering characters. We're like, who's this guy? And you meet people that you end up remembering and talking to for years. I've met people at events and festivals. Like I met a guy at a fish show a few years ago that is my buddy Space, who's up north, who's a grower with his buddies, and great guy. Even though I'm a really bad friend and I haven't been keeping in contact with like any of my friends lately, and I hope if any of my friends or family are watching this by chance, which is probably not likely because they figure my channel is pretentious and bullshit. Um, I love you all. You know, I do. I just don't. I'm not good at answer. I don't answer my phone. I'm not good at getting back to people. My voicemail box has been full for 2 years, and dealing with the whole, you know, homeschooling, family, COVID thing. It's just kind of put me into like a. It's hard to explain. It's put me into kind of like a isolation mindset. Like I just kind of want to be on my own with my family, but you know, I don't want to have to answer to people if that makes sense. So I'm gonna flip back through the comments here real quick. Call him MacGyver. Carpo, do you know your birth info, outline date and place? Asking for a friend. You talking about? Well, yeah, I do. I have this huge book on star charts and shit, and I've done all my charts, but it's pretty crazy how uncanny it is. But here's the thing: if you could know your future, would you want to know it? And that's when I gave up on astrology. That's all I can say. No, I don't. I mean, I do know that, but I don't really want to share all my birth information. That's private. Maybe I'll email it to you or something. Hmm. Black bear's your favorite animal too, Tamara? Huh? Nice. Oh, Forged in Fire, Man at Arms on YouTube. Yes, I have. I love metalworking. Forged in Fire. I don't know if that's the one that was like the reality show. We tried to start watching it, and I couldn't do it. I can't do reality shows, but I love watching dudes who do metalworking on YouTube. I've watched a lot of bushcraft knives and machetes and people making Japanese swords, katanas, and stuff. I'm fascinated with metallurgy, but it comes and goes. You know, my interest wanes on that. But you know, I like a good knife. I mean, honestly, I had this one up here. I don't know where it went now, but I was showing it the other day. It was that simple buck knife, and it was just such a beautiful blade. But I'd love to be able to make my own knife. And I've got a bunch of saw blades and shit I can make knives out of. But no, I really want to forge, melt, and fold my own steel one day, and make like a Damascus steel type like knife, by myself. I think it'd be awesome. That's kind of like, the raw stuff, making tools, primal tools, primitive tools, right? Phil, Abby, Deja, lived in Brooklyn. Take a train home. Jersey. Did you just say Jersey is beautiful, Deja Voodoo? Come on, dude. No, I'm just kidding. It might be. Uh, Spinning Wheel says, I'm vegan because it's really, really easy not to torture animals for my own unnecessary pleasure. Would you want to be tortured and killed and advocate? No, but not all animals are tortured. Some animals are harvested for food and they're not tortured. And if you know where your food's coming from and you eat from a reasonable source, all you can do is try to minimize that. Do you realize that the earth is a living entity? And that when you're eating vegetables that are grown on lands that are monoculture, you're raping and torturing the planet itself, right? You're destroying the topsoil, and the earth probably feels that just like an animal feels. We all have to draw the line somewhere. When you eat a head of lettuce, you're eating the insects that are in that lettuce. Insects have feelings too. I'm not trying to minimalize animal pain. I'm just saying that not all meat means that animals are tortured and hacked to bits while they're living. Being vegan is not it's not the healthiest option for all people. That's all I can say. So I'm gonna flip through the rest of these comments. My spirit animal is Chewbacca. Oh hell yeah, dude! Chewbacca would be a really good spirit animal. What does he exactly do, and what exactly is his deal? I mean, you know, the whole Wookiee planet thing came later, but I don't know. Why don't they wear clothes? They probably don't need them. Hold on, I gotta get some. All right, a couple more minutes and I'm gonna head out here. It's been a while. I didn't realize it was so damn late already. I probably should have been watching a movie in there. But hey, it's cool. The one person who clicked dislike, shame on you. What? People can already click dislike on a live video? Oh no. Good. Probably because I ate meat. Do you feel hummingbirds deja vu? Hummingbirds are awesome. Sweet. Cool. I think I've answered all my stuff. Um, Carpo, I work every day. Should I get fired or quit? What the hell does that mean, Phil? Should I get fired or quit? If you work every day, you should be happy that you're working every day. Be grateful for it, man. Um, being Working keeps you busy. It keeps you functional. It makes you feel like you're productive, getting something accomplished, in my opinion. Um, so anyhow, to wrap this up, if anybody out there is feeling down, feeling stressed out, you know, don't do anything rash like with Phil. As you're saying, should you quit or get fired? Hey man, that's totally your choice. You know what you should do. But I've had to work some shitty jobs in my past to get by. If you're not able to survive otherwise than working that job, then stick with your job. If you find something different, um, then you can take that on. For me, even though I want to be, I'd love to make a living off of my podcasts or have enough patrons to like just do videos full time. I know the reality is that I can't right now. So, $100 a month ain't gonna pay the bills. So that's why I have my herb business and why I'm trying to find other things to do. I'd really like to get into other jobs, but yeah, always having something else first before you move away is important. You can't just jump out of your job and expect to want to get another one because you won't. You'll get stuck at home. You'll just get stuck at home. You won't want to do anything. He says, I want to be an entrepreneur like what you're well on your way to do. I've been an entrepreneur for years, but it's painful. It means that you have to not only pay all the bills, but you have to answer all the questions, and you have to set up all the jobs, and you have to get the customers and everything. Sometimes working for other people can be one of the most useful things. I mean, it could be super beneficial. Um, you just work and come home, you get a paycheck. You know what I mean? Spinning Wheel says, I know veganism is the minority, just my own thoughts. Peace. No, in all respect, I completely agree. Actually, I wish that I thought that veganism was the right diet for humans, and if I did, I'd probably be a vegan too. But I've never had an issue with meat. When I eat chicken or beef, I feel good. I mean, it gives me an energy buzz, but not just even that day. If I eat a burger in the evening, which I only do maybe once every week or two, maybe I'll probably eat a burger every 2 weeks tops, if that. But when I do, I always feel good the next day. Like, I've learned that the body stores nutrients. I think a lot of people have a misconception you have to eat 3 meals a day, and that's ridiculous. There's a reason why they call it breakfast. It's called break fast. And a lot of folks don't realize that you're supposed to have at least a 12-hour fast before you eat. So if I go to bed and I, eat my last food around 9 p.m. or something, I won't eat until at least noon the next day. I fast for at least 15 hours a day, probably. And then I eat plenty of food when I do eat. You don't have to eat it in increments, even though eating a small amount at a time has been shown to be beneficial because you can absorb a certain amount of nutrients at a time. Snacking is great, but really I eat when I feel hungry, period. And that's not all the time. I don't eat breakfast. So um, I guess what I'm saying is that if you get enough nutrients from vegetables to suit your needs, I think that's awesome. But I've found that veganism is more complicated in order to get all the nutrients you need. B6 and various, other things, B12, I'm not sure. I don't remember the specifics. I just know that there's things in meat that I just don't feel I get from vegetables. And I follow my heart and my body, it's hard to define that. Jay Mute says, I wish I could be vegan, but I need meat. As the Native Americans, we honor the animal. Yes, I've taught my kids to sit at the dinner table if they're going to eat meat and honor what they're eating. In fact, my 11-year-old son does not like it when I call milk cow juice, and I do it on purpose because I want him to realize what he's consuming. Even though I grew up drinking milk, our generation was told that we needed milk or it was good for our bones, all that bullshit. I remember my mom saying, "Oh, you got thick bones because you drank milk." I believed that. She believed that. We didn't know any better, and now we realize that's complete bullshit. Um, but at any rate, there is a lot of protein and certain components within meat and dairy that, have their benefits and their drawbacks, I guess. It's different for each person. Some Asians can't even drink any milk. They're lactose intolerant with their genetics, but hmm. Hmm. Phil says, start a YouTube channel. Yeah, do it up, man. I mean, don't expect to make anything, but if you're doing it for the right reasons, make a YouTube channel and enjoy it. I just do it because I want to express myself, but I don't get any money off it. So just be aware of that. Ann says, have you tried fasting for long periods of time? No, not a long period of time, but I have gone on smoothie diets for a few days, but I've never gone on a diet. Let me just tell you this. In my entire life, I've never said, this is going to be my diet. I'm only going to do this, or I'm not going to eat this, or I'm only going to eat this. I just eat whatever my body wants. Um, and that changes over time. It's crazy. Phil says human breast milk is so good. Dude, I don't even have a response to that, brother. I haven't drank any human breast milk. I should have asked my wife when she was nursing my kids, right? No. Mm. I've heard it is. I've heard it's very nutrient rich, so milk is not necessary though. Yeah. Phil says, I know the money isn't on YouTube. Yeah, build confidence with something of value. Well, then do it, Phil. I mean, honestly, brother, if it moves you, then you should definitely do it. That's all I can say. Timer says, my weakness is white rice, crackers, and chips. I wouldn't call white rice a weakness. Honestly, if you're eating any rice, it's not too bad. I know that it's bleached. I know that brown rice is better. I personally love wild rice. My wife hates it. It's that dark black stuff. It tastes like nutty, um, like rice. Some of it's in rice pilaf, but that's some healthy ass shit right there. And white rice is basically bleached crap. But at least it's still better than a lot of the other crap that we eat. Like it's probably better than eating bread and wheat-based products. I think that rice is a superior product, especially if it's good rice. And if you're gonna eat, I like jasmine rice. It's my favorite. My wife just doesn't like it, so. My guilty pleasure food is ramen, as it's expensive to make and buy. I'm assuming you mean inexpensive. Yeah, ramen is like a staple in our house for my kids. They love it. Death Deathwise says, any advice on picking a career, balancing money and happiness? I went pretty fucking silent there, didn't I? Any advice on a career from a guy who can't even get his own shit together? Well, from your view, it may seem different, but yeah, I've had an issue with careers, and I know that part of it was because I don't believe in careers. I don't believe that humans really were meant to work one job for their whole life. But some jobs you can do that if there's enough variation. Like, for example, my wife is a server. I know she wants to do other things. But I also know it's not like being on an assembly line, even though each customer's different, each interaction's different. I've worked at this warehouse where we took distributed food that had been damaged in transit to grocery stores. And they'd stack it in this warehouse in this huge pile, and we'd, unload it. Each box, put the stuff on the conveyor belt, and then one person would unload the stock, the unloader, and then the scanner, and then the packer. What you're doing is you're getting the money back to the grocery stores for damaged merchandise. All the damaged merchandise for all the local grocery stores went there. And so a cat food box got dropped off of a pallet. It sits in the warehouse for a month, and then we process it. Now, do you know what it looks like when a can of cat food has been broken open for a month sitting in a warehouse? You can probably guess that there were shitloads of maggots coming out of those boxes all across the conveyor belts. I worked there for a few months. So disgusted by it. I mean, I couldn't believe. Whoops. I don't know where I got cut off here, but I was talking about the shitty job I had working at a warehouse. Um, it was horrible. It was horrible. Just horrible. So you sometimes have to work a shitty job, dude. You have to earn not being. I mean, it's hard to earn your way and feel like you're actually paying your way. Some people are lucky. Some people make good money at what they do and they love what they do. I don't have any skills other than carpentry. So, is, Phil says, is anyone interested in educational geology videos? Haha, probably not. Are you a geologist, Phil? I love geology personally. I'd totally watch your channel, man. If you send me your shit, I'll watch it, and I'll even recommend people watch it if I like it. The thing with videos, especially that kind of stuff, is people want visuals. For me to sit here and talk to you and have you listen to me without visuals and extras, the fact that I can talk to the camera and I don't change or edit my videos or generally mess with them or put any background music or anything, and that people still listen shows me that people want to hear some of the shit at least that I have to say. And that's what's pushed me to continue doing it. Once in a while I lose faith in what I'm talking about. I'm like, what the fuck am I even saying? And then somebody reminds me that, like, oh, this one helped me a lot. This video helped me a lot. And I'm like, okay, that's great. I'll keep doing it. That's the reason I can get away with doing it without extras. But if you're doing geology videos, you're going to want to have those, you're going to want to have videos and pictures. If you can do video editing, you should totally do it. I've been thinking about sending my videos to people and saying, will you do this? I mean, make a video, make my video for me and pay someone to do it. Like, my bathroom remodel, I have over 100 short videos of the whole process. I don't have a computer that works for shit, complete piece of crap. I don't have the skills or the program or anything to make a video about it. And it'll probably sit in this folder of WIDT is what it's called, what I did today. It's called Carpa, what I did today. And I have a folder of like 15, 20 different folders full of shit, whether this was this project I did, this was this project I did, and I can't edit them all together. So I thought, if you can afford to pay somebody to edit them for you, god damn it, phone. Oh, yep, my phone's about to die. But anyway, if you can do geology videos and that's what you want to do, you should totally go for it. That's all I can say. I dropped my vape. I hate that. Such a drag. I have to put all the shit back together. Ramen. Asian flair. Dirty rice and beans. My dad would say go for the money. Yeah, well, money doesn't buy happiness. That's all I can say. Huh? Tamara says she worked in restaurant for years, mostly bartending. Yeah, it's good money. It's hard to get away from. You get stuck in that. The service industry makes good money. And look, I'm just going to say, people who live in, say, Alabama or Kentucky, or some of those southern states, I'm not sure if those specifically, but a lot of the southern states don't pay shit to their employees. They have horrible laws and they don't protect the people, especially the service industry, which makes up a huge amount of this, public sector. Servers are mostly predominantly women. Therefore, they're just constantly put down and abused. The way that they get paid is not fair. $2 an hour or nothing in some of these places. Some states have rules where you don't even have to get minimum wage. You're working a fucking job and you only get paid if you get tips. That is bullshit. I don't want to get into that because I'll get angry, because it actually pisses me off that there's so many women out there that are busting their ass, and at the end of their fucking shift they're making like $20, working 8 hours. It's complete bullshit. On the other end of the spectrum, we live in Washington State. My wife gets minimum wage, at least, plus Well, she's actually like basically a manager or assistant manager. She's been there for like 20 years. She's earned that shit. She's a server and a manager basically, which you can. I mean, it's not bad money if you're getting at least minimum wage plus your tips and not getting screwed over on your tips. And if you're working at a restaurant where people are giving cash tips, can you imagine walking away from that and trying to start a new career making just basic $7 an hour or something? It's like unbelievable. That's why people get kind of stuck in it, but it's hard because it can be enjoyable too. So Jay Mute says I want background music. Elevator music. Yep, you're that late, Deedster dude. I'm about to head out pretty quick. It is getting late. I probably already missed my window to hang out with the family because it's 11 o'clock. So I'm going to guess that the kids are already in bed. And my wife's probably wondering when the hell I'm going to finish up and come in the house. Or she's watching my live stream laughing at me right now. I don't know. She probably hears enough of my bullshit without having to listen to this. Carpo, my mom makes jewelry. She said if you want to learn, she's all about teaching. Nice. Well, I make jewelry too. I have a whole collection, but it's different kind. It's resin jewelry that I make with various natural products I find, mushrooms and stuff like that. Probably got 100 different items that I need to put up for sale. But you're probably talking specifically about silver and stuff like that. Yeah, I've got a big silver working book, and I've got a pretty good grasp on what I need to do. It's just a matter of buying the stuff. I need to find somebody who's giving up silversmithing that's selling all their crap so I can just buy it used because I don't like buying new shit. It's too expensive. And I have a lot of fucking hobbies, all right? I mean, a lot of hobbies. So. Oh, I see what happened. It looks like it cuts off the live stream at a certain time or something. It says I've only been on for 24 minutes now. That's weird. Maybe it'll combine it all later. Yeah. Tamara says editing is a pain in the ass. Yes, it is. The only few videos that I've made and I've edited have been really just kind of overlooked on my channel. And I'm like, I put a few hours into that one. What's the point in even doing it? I mean, really, it's the content that matters. They're usually my traveling videos. Then there's one I took with all these old clips from the 50s about like drug use and learning about drugs, and I made this, what's it called? What drugs are like. It's on my other channel, but it's like the first video on the channel, and I was like, why do I put so much time into something so stupid? Editing takes forever, but if you want to get a video that's going to get 1 million views, you need to edit the shit out of it. It's just how it is. Abby says, see, you're a server. I don't know what to do with my life. At least the money's getting me through. I only get paid $2 an hour, so tips are important. Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, in Georgia, $2.13 an hour. See? Fuck, Abby, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, it's almost embarrassing for you as a server, because I know you bust your ass. All servers bust their ass, okay? It's a fucking hard job. You have to put on a smile for the clients. You have to, it's tough. You got to put on an act, and that's, I wish there was something I could like do to change that kind of bullshit corruption in this country, but we have to fight for it, Deja was a bouncer, huh? Oh, you're a female bouncer, huh? Nice. That's fucking cool. I've never seen a female bouncer. That's pretty awesome. You probably had pretty good luck, actually. People are like, I don't want to fucking hit a woman. I'm out of here. That's great. Oh, Penelope says, bodybuilders buy human breast milk on eBay these days. What are your thoughts on this? LOL. I would say that my thoughts on bodybuilders buying breast milk is about my same thought as people who buy jars with farts in them on eBay. Period. They're just a bunch of idiots. Or creeps. Phil says, I don't know how much I work per hour since I started. I intend to work my way over 40. On all these different metals. My uncle's all metal workers. I kind of wanted to work with some copper. I really like copper, and it's easy to work. Jay Mute says, Carpo does drugs. Well, why would you say something like that? I do not do drugs. It's just nicotine, this. and a little bit of kratom and a beer, a cup of coffee, and a little bit of weed. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I've never done drugs. Phil, you've known three people that died already in healthcare from the COVID? Man, that's fucking rough, dude. You mean the COVID that doesn't exist according to a lot of people? God, I'm glad we haven't had that debate this time. This has been pleasant. This is why I've stuck around on this live cast because it's been inspirational. You guys have things to say, and it's, I don't know, it's awesome. Whenever some troll comes in, I end up just leaving, but I'm sure somebody will try to troll me now, right? I would like to think that positive thinking can change the future, or that we can think our way out of problems as a society. But let me just say this. I think that the stress that we have right now as a society, as a nation, or as a world, whenever I say nation, it's because I live in the US. I know a lot of you don't. But many of you struggle with the same problems in your own countries. And also, a lot of you understand that the US does have a major impact on the world issues. I watched a PBS report tonight. It was a brief, recently uploaded. I think it was just uploaded tonight. About the recent research that was done on this glacier in Antarctica. And for the first time, they were able to get out onto this glacier. They had to wait for this storm to pass. Then they drilled a hole down about a half mile through the glacier, and they got some of the first pictures and video from underneath the glacier to see what was going on, water temperatures and everything else. Their research showed them that it was much warmer than they thought. And basically, this simple glacier, which eventually will be deposited into the ocean, is going to raise the sea levels by a foot or two. And this is just one of many events like this that will happen over time. It will be very gradual, but some of these might be more sudden. We're living in a strange time, a very precarious time, where the future seems very depressing. And it seems like we're never going to make it out of this. That there was a time when my parents were kids where they were told that the future was bright, everything was great. We have fossil fuels. Look, we can just grow unlimited, you know. And then my generation, Gen X, came up, born in 75, growing up in the 80s, in the early 90s, hearing that, yeah, shit was getting kind of nasty. Oh, well, you got to go to college to do this, but college is becoming twice as expensive, so none of you can go. And then even the generation, you know, the generation after me, or the millennials, who got stuck with huge fucking bills for college in a future with no possibilities, with no real jobs, with automation taking over. And that's not just depressive or, you know, overthinking it. It's the truth. When I was born, the population was half of what it is now. Half. Okay? Half. We have doubled in population since I was born, and I'm only 45. This is insane. The world is getting too big, and the jobs that we thought would be there, we knew really wouldn't be there. So, to the question of what to do with our future, what to do with our lives, this is what causes us the most stress. Because like I was talking to my wife the other day, I said, it's all about the money. She's like, it's not money. I'm like, it is. You break it down to the basics, it's all money. All my stresses come from money. I would say some of my stresses come from my fucked up teeth. I wake up and I'm worried about my teeth because I can't chew very well. But that's based on the fact that if I felt like I had the extra money, I'd just go in and get it all fixed. Just get knocked out and just get it fixed. If, you know, our stress is about taxes, not paying my taxes for a couple of years. I was like, I finally filed my taxes, getting this shit done. It's stressing me out still, all the time. But it's something that is money based. I would have just let somebody else, paid somebody to do it a long time ago if it wasn't for me worrying about having to pay the taxes. It always comes down to money. All of us are struggling for money. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have thought the same thing. If somebody could just give me $1 million, oh, I could do so much with that, so much good, and I could actually, I think sometimes bigger, like $1 billion. I was like, I could at least give it to charities that would do something, not just waste it away. Even half of the charities just squander the money that they have. So you think you're doing good giving to donating to places like Goodwill, and you find out the CEO makes $500,000 a year. You're like, oh God, you just can't win, right? It's a disgusting world, and it's hard to have a positive outlook in a disgusting world. And but it doesn't have to be that way, because that's the main thing I want to make. It's all about perspective. It's not disgusting unless you feel that it was that way. So, back through the comments here. Discipline. I'm an artist, but I'm only focused on selling art. Yeah, Abby, I'm the same way. Art's hard to sell. I have a difficult time selling my art. I never feel it's good enough to sell. You know what I mean? The ingredients are too expensive. Oh, hell yeah. I hear that, Penelope. Deja says, Carpa, my mom said her brother would spam you as he has so much extra copper he says he's going to use and never does. I know him. My uncle isn't computer savvy to spam a YouTuber. Hey man, that's cool. It's funny, I have some copper bars, just a few little copper bars I bought. So I mean, there's so much copper around, it's a pretty easy material to get. It probably costs more to ship than it's worth, I guess is what I'm saying. So if somebody was going to send somebody copper through the mail, it would probably be like twice as much as the copper's worth just to ship it. But I bought a few copper bars, and I actually have these Lakota Indian coins that were from the Lakota tribe. They're pretty interesting. I bought them years back during times when I thought that copper might raise in value, but I don't want to get into precious metals here because that's a different story altogether. Hell Screams drilling that. Didn't they hear Hell Screams drilling that deep? J Mute, drilling a half mile through the ice to the ocean ain't shit, brother. Dude, I think the longest, I don't even remember how many tens of miles the deepest well is, but it goes down to the hot place. Much lower than that. It's crazy. Some of the deep well oil rigs go like 8 times deeper than that drill. It's insane. It's insane. We've really drilled far into the earth, but still, it's just like a barely puncturing a fucking zit on the earth, right? We don't even know what's really in the center of the earth. That's the funny thing. Phil says, your job is 75% writing reports. Well, that seems to be the case for a lot of jobs like that. I think that's why I'm scared of taking on any kind of like college educated job where I'd have to go to college and take a class, and I'd learn how to do something and get a degree, and then I'd go out and get a job in that, and I'd be an engineer that files reports all day or something. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you this to all of you youngins out there who may be artists, if you're listening. It's hard, and you know this. The starving artist syndrome is real. My brother and I, he's a guitarist. We've both always worked other jobs. He's always been dedicated to his craft, but his dream is to make money playing music, but he knows he has to have another job on the side. Every artist has a day job. Why is it that way? Because people love art and music so much, but even musicians have to have day jobs. Because there's only a limited amount of music that is paid for. A lot of it's consumed, but most of the money goes to the corporate interests. And it's sad because if you want to sell yourself, you have to sell yourself directly. Like I'm doing right here. Whenever I make a video and I say, hey, if you guys want to support me, you can go to Patreon. And then that means somebody actually has to go there, click on it, and take the time to go there, and then decide, okay, I want to help, I want to sponsor this person or donate to this person. Which means my channel has to be better than somebody else they'd want to donate to, right? And the story goes on and on. You have people out there who are artists who make more money off of their Instagram posts of their art through like selling products than they do with the art itself. So their art piece might be worth a couple $100, but they're making 10,000 off of selling wafers or crackers through their fucking. It's crazy. People just sell out like crazy, and that's the hardest thing. I refuse to sponsor brands on my channel. It's just cheesy as hell. I just think it is. That's my thing. J Mute says coffee wrecks you with anxiety. That's what cannabis does to me these days, kind of. Deedster says, I went for audio video production, but been doing web design and e-learning. I want out. Isn't that funny? Because we're told we need to learn more about computers, right? And then we get into it and we're like, fuck this shit. Let me tell you what I want as a human being. I want to buy a farm. We have a house here which has doubled in value at least over the last, well, we've lived here for fucking close to 20 years now. And I thought, well, my wife and I were talking about whether we could sell the house, take that money, and straight up outright buy a farm with half of it, and then take the other half to live off for a while we fix up the farm, grow our own food, get a shed, things like that. Like I watched some YouTubers, dudes like, I think this guy's name was Bo Miles or something. He's like an Australian guy, and they have this farm, him and his wife and their baby, and he makes these videos where he just builds random shit. He was the one who did one where he like ate nothing but beans for 30 days or something. He likes to run marathons and stuff, but he also does carpentry, and it's like, wow, dude, if I just had land and a whole bunch of fucking wood, I could build anything on that land. I would like, when I get flowing and I have the motivation, I feel like I've wasted so much passion being stuck in a normal house in a normal situation. When if I had that exploring, that room to roam, my motivation would be so much higher. When I got to working on my bathroom today, once I got going on it, I was into it. And that's how we all have to be in life with everything. It's that old thing, just get up and start, and then everything flows. Because I've been procrastinating for the last year. Man, it's been really hard this year for me. And I know it's been the same for a lot of you, so. $1 million. I do a lot with $1 million for myself. Willow, I did really well till I was injured. That's what happened to me. I was making pretty good money. Phil says, why can't we do super chats? I'll be honest, Phil, I don't know what a super chat is. I've seen them. I know that in a super chat you can like donate money through PayPal and stuff. The only way to do a super chat is if you're an AdSense partner with YouTube. In other words, YouTube doesn't want channels like mine on YouTube. I'll be brutally honest. My channel has stagnated over the last year. A lot of YouTubers have talked about this. Even one guy was like, what did I do wrong on my channel? Why haven't I got new subscribers? And I was like, dude, it's not you. It's the YouTube algorithms have pushed all channels like mine out of any recommended list. Why? I don't have ads on my channel. If there's no ads on your channel, why would YouTube want to sponsor your channel? Therefore, it's kind of like this thing like, should I just give in and just put ads on my channel so at least I can get noticed? Just don't care enough. But without that, I can't do super chats and I can't get donations or anything like that. I feel like I'm costing myself, by doing that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, right? Just makes YouTube and Google richer. That's what Steve says, and that's another part of the reason. Thanks, Steve. Actually, that's the other half of it, is that YouTube takes a huge amount out of that cut, and it's not fair. YouTube takes way too much. Same reason I hate PayPal and Patreon. There's no other way to really receive money without giving money to somebody else just for the fucking giving money to somebody. Everybody just got their hands on your fucking cash. It's kind of bullshit. But I would try it to do it if they didn't get so much. Penelope, are you getting a real Christmas tree this year? We already got one. Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, we were on top of that shit. My wife's like, I want to get one early this year. We're doing Christmas heavy. I'm like, I'm on it. Put up all the lights. I posted a thing of my Christmas lights, a video of them outside. And we also have a beautiful fucking, Douglas fir perfect tree with the star on the top and the lights and all the ornaments, bells and whistles and everything. And what we might not have is a huge pile of presents because it's a lean year. There's not a lot of money being made. So, whatever. The kids are going to learn to be happy with what they get. Willow says, I was happiest living in a blue school bus. Yeah. My bus sits out in the front yard right now. And our idea is if we do get the farm, we're going to drive our school bus right there, park it on the farm, and have a place to stay. I've been dreaming lately about, in my dreams, it's like a festival, but I've never seen any actual concerts or music. Now that I think about it while I'm talking about it, it's actually, we're in this grassy area, kind of a wooded area. There's weird roads and ruts, and a whole bunch of people camp there. Our dream is to get a piece of land and then have a camping experience kind of thing where people can come and stay. There could be a time of year where there's just private, where you just camp and you have your own zone, do your own thing. And then ones where there's like every night there's a kumbaya fucking fire out down by the main lodge, and you come down and hang out and tell stories and talk about the woods, take people out and explore and share the wilderness. And I think that would be really cool. I really do. That's kind of my dream. Christmas trees were $100 and up at Lowe's. Holy shit. Wow. Yeah, I went to a Christmas tree farm to get mine. The best present is company. You're right. And that's what we can't have this year, right? I feel horrible. I want to invite my mom this year to Christmas. And, you know, she's in her 70s, and we have a lot of people here that are in and out, and I'm worried about COVID. I don't want to get my mom sick, but I know she's lonely. I'm really stuck here. This is a really tough one. Not just with her, but it's kind of like do you let your kids play with the neighbor kids? Now, we have been, but only the local kids on this street, and there's only like one or two kids they were playing with. Some of the kids came from the street up the street and asked if he could play the other day, and I said they can't play right now, and I felt so fucking bad not letting the kids play, but trying to do the right thing, and then having people yelling in your ear, oh, you're just an idiot, you think COVID's a big deal, oh, everybody. One guy told me the other day, he's like, everybody dies someday. All I could say was, I'm not ready to fucking die yet, or kill my parents or my mom. Anyway, I've already lost my dad, so but yeah, that's a really tough one. Mm-mm-mm. A bunch of hippies to move on land. That's what I want. You're Deja hunting for a sweater or a hoodie, huh? Yeah, that sucks, man. Master Gu. I don't know Master Gu. Sounds like most of my rainbow gathering experiences. Yeah, I stayed away from the rainbow gatherings. I went to dead shows and stuff like that, but the rainbow gatherings were they polluted and littered, and too many wild dogs left behind. There's some really respectable people in the rainbow community, and then some that just go in there to like have a place to party and get high. But I guess the same could go for anything: a fish concert, a dead show, anywhere. Yep, Penelope, it does suck that so many people can't travel this year. It's a really drag. Really a drag. Buy some land, grow yourself, grow plants and animals. That's exactly what I want to do, my friend. I just have to find the right land. My wife's been looking at properties in Kentucky, and that's too far away. I live in Washington. I really don't want to move that far. It was kind of a half joke to move there, but um, you know. Leon says, when exactly did you discover the dead? 1991? I think it was 1991. I'll tell you the story of how I discovered the dead. I was a metalhead. My friend and I were long hairs. We're 16 years old. He comes home with his tape one day. We're up in his attic where he lives. He'd converted it into a room, and he's like, yeah, I got this tape today. Check it out. And as metalheads, it was called The Grateful Dead. And I was like, oh, yeah, I heard of them. And then so he puts it in, and it was American Beauty by The Grateful Dead, right? Put it in the tape player, hit play. Dun, 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 and it's fucking Box of Rain, the first song on the album. We look at each other like, what the fuck is this shit? And we turned it off. We're like, this crap. Then we kind of listened to it a little more. And next thing you know, like, what is it, a month later, we're like, we got to go to a Dead show. We heard all about these Dead shows and how great they were. Went down to Eugene for a 3-night concert at Autzen Stadium in 92 or 3. And, dude, just blew my mind. We were going to all the shows we could from there in Seattle and Shoreline and Portland. And, yeah, that was the waking moment for me, you know. It was when I got to the Dead show and I met some of the first people. I took some acid, I walked into the show, and I walked into the stadium and heard this music playing and saw the purple haze over the crowd, and it was the most amazing thing. The second day, I think it was, the second night, it was raining when we went into the stadium, and then the Grateful Dead opens up with Here Comes Sunshine, and as soon as they start playing it, the rain stops, and the fucking clouds part, and the sun comes out, and everybody's just cheering. It was just like, oh man, it was fucking amazing. Going to a Dead show and hearing certain songs when you know the songs, like seeing the Rainbow at their Fare Thee Well tour in 2015 was just amazing. Just a great experience. Sorry, I'm reminiscing about the Dead, and I know not all of you are Deadheads, but you should be. You should be. Wheeler says, I got 5 acres with some water. It's awesome. The only requirement for me is trees, water. I have to have a stream going through there that cannot be diverted or accessed upstream by some other fucking property owner or ruined. I need a well of some sort, you know. And also for hydropower, I've got plans for that. But yeah, I also would like to have at least 10 to 20 acres. I'd really prefer to have like 25 acres. So Steve says, Midwest sucks, don't do it. Well, that's easy to say, but the only reason we looked at it is because you can buy a freaking like 20 acres with a huge farmhouse for like 200 grand. Out here, it's like twice that. I mean, it's expensive out here, really expensive, but, you know, can't help it. Yeah, there's a lot of low rates right now. It's a good time to buy shit like that. It's about the community, says Leon. Yes, that's what Dead shows are all about. Just like Fish shows. There's some shitty parts of that community, just like any community. There's some low lifes, the nitrous mafia that comes in, you know, thieves, things like that. But you meet really good people. It makes it worth it. Yeah, I'd really like to get a place in the middle of nowhere. But anyway, I'm going to go now. It's been really good talking to you all. I've been on here way, way too long. And I appreciate you guys coming along and listening to me and rambling with me. And it's been real. It really has. I feel like I've been on here too long. It's like I have this guilt factor that I can ramble for so long. I do hear music in the house even though it's late. So I'm going to guess somebody's still awake in there. Y'all have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Or good morning. Or whatever it might be. Be well. Peace out. Don't stress.